What's going on, everybody? It is Wednesday, June 28th, 2023, and this is episode 24 of Punch the Air.
24, we're getting up there.
Oh, yeah.
Couch edition. Boom.
Love that. Couch edition. I got T-Bone to my right, Buzzsaws to my left, and we're going to do a nice little, Jesus. And we got a juicy NBA pod for you, all NBA. So we're going to kick things off talking about free agency with that coming up this upcoming weekend. And we're going to kick things off with Kyrie Irving. Is he coming back to Dallas?
Anywhere but Dallas.
He's coming back to Dallas. I mean, I know you don't want him to come back to Dallas, but with Kyrie, we think he's probably strictly thinking about the money. We could offer more money. I don't think we're going to offer him the full Supermax that he can get, but I'm thinking
5,273.
Jeff Skin Wade already tweeted it, the 4 for 160.
He did.
I think we're
Pretty
seeing.
reliable
I think we're
source.
seeing a 3 or 4 year deal from 40 to 45 mil.
4 to 5 year deal.
No, I said 3 to 4.
Oh,
3 to 4, 40 to
What about a 1 to
45
2?
mil. And Kyrie's coming back. And we talked about it earlier, though, the Mavs at this point, they traded the assets for Kyrie. They have to roll with Kyrie.
Well,
no
okay.
one else wants him.
the Mavs is the obvious pick, but what's another team?
The
the
Lakers
La-
are
the
always going
Heat.
to be there.
Let's
if
just
the
say
Lakers-
shit falls
you
through.
have to take less money to go to the Lakers.
He
Consider
would.
He'd
It
have
would
to
have- it
take
would have to be
30.
And it would also have to be a sign and trade that the Mavs would have to accept to get Kyrie because they can't just sign him outright.
D'Angelo Russell, Mo Bamba, Malik Beasley, and a first. Boom.
I don't know. I think I'm good on that. but
D'Angelo Russell's obviously a massive
I do
downgrade.
not want
Mo
D'Angelo
Bamba
Russell.
helps the center position. Great at defense.
How
good
much
shooter.
better is he
He
than
didn't
the
even play for
Lively
them
Holmes
down the
combo,
stretch.
though?
I think he's better than Holmes and Lively. Lively's a rookie who hasn't played a snap, who averaged 5 points a game.
I mean, Mo Bamba didn't play a minute in the playoffs.
Was he hurt?
No,
was
he just
healthy.
wasn't playing.
He didn't play for him really at all. There's a reason they sent him off to LA for nothing.
Well,
I mean, Mo Bamba is.
he's probably better than anything else we got.
I disagree, but
Who's better, Holmes?
I'd rather have Lively even as a rookie than probably Mo Bamba.
No, dude. Lively averaged
For-
5
for-
points a
for
game
the fit with
last season
Luka,
for
I would
Duke.
rather have Holmes as a pick and roll guy than Mo Bamba.
Bamba can pick and roll,
But
he's like 7'1".
I mean, there's a reason Mo Bamba got traded for nothing. I know Riqwon Holmes isn't much either, but I'd rather just keep what you have here, maybe bring Dwight Powell in the veteran minimum to get 8 minutes a night in the regular season, than even take on Mo Bamba. But fuck Mo Bamba. He's not even worth talking about.
Yeah. But
Are there any other spots though?
I mean,
Miami.
unless a team like Houston or some team with a bunch of cap really feels like they want to get a big name in to sell
They
tickets.
could sign him outright. So
They
we wouldn't
could.
even get
They
a
could.
sign and trade.
Okay, see, that's the one thing. If someone like Houston or Detroit, someone that has an abundant amount of cap, wants to throw a ton of money at Kyrie, and they offer more than we do, Kyrie probably will take that. But I don't think any of those teams are going to throw it at Kyrie.
It would be
and we've seen
moronic
reports
for them
that
to do that.
his market is pretty much Dallas
Just
versus Dallas.
It's just Dallas.
Well, it's
So-
why would Houston do it? They have so many young pieces around. They're not ready to win now. Why would you?
For some reason, they seem like they really want Harden.
I
or
think
Kyrie,
I
or
think
even Fred
I-
Van Fleet.
I think that the Harden thing's a lot of smoke, honestly.
For
they
sure.
said
But-
that they're preparing an offer for Van Fleet for 2 years, $83 million.
I think Van Fleet would make more sense as to get a grown-up in there to kind of mentor their young guards. But especially with Houston,
he's
it's like
probably better
you
mentoring
want
Harden.
all of your guards are so young. You want a kind of a big brother kind of guy in there. And I don't know if
you want like
Kyrie's
a
that.
grown up, mature
Yeah,
guy.
and I think Van Vliet is that guy. He's won a
Yeah.
championship. He's like 30 at this point.
yeah.
I like Van Vliet, but I don't think they're really going to make a push for Kyrie. Kyrie's market is obviously very,
It's Dallas.
very tiny.
Well, there's
right
also
now,
so many really good guards in the league as it is right now, it's just there's not a lot of places where he fits or that have the cap space.
Exactly.
And it's like
I
we're the
mean,
one team where it truly
Philly.
makes sense. Yeah,
They would
Philly
have,
if Harden
they
doesn't
would
come
have
back.
to do a sign and trade.
If let's just say Tobias and Maxey.
They're not going to get
They wouldn't give
Maxey.
us all that.
I mean, they're talking about doing Maxey, and people are throwing around Maxey and a pick for Dame.
No, but Kyrie and Dame.
I mean,
are
they're the
much
same
different.
level player.
But-
Obviously,
but
the other shit. Is,
I don't.
Dame
Phil-
comes with less
Phil-
baggage.
Yeah,
Ky-
Dame comes with a lot less
I
baggage.
think there's
but
0% chance Kyrie has any possibility of going to Philly.
I do too. I'm just throwing out other possibilities other
Yeah.
than Dallas. But
I
it's
think
going to be Dallas.
Dallas is obviously the
Yeah.
clear favorite, probably minus 500 to go to Dallas if there was betting odds.
Yeah.
on it. And then LA, and then a few of these
Maybe
sleeper teams with
Miami.
cap.
You can maybe throw Milwaukee in there. If
Yeah,
Milwaukee
if you
wanted
wanna-
to change it up and give us
You could
Middleton.
probably make some fun hypothetical trades with those. Or
You can make a
whatever,
ton.
But yeah, I think it's pretty simple with Kyrie. You know,
I
the
heard
market's small.
good one from Nick Wright. The Clippers.
I saw that.
They
too.
could give us either Paul George or Kawhi straight up.
They could.
Which
As
that
a
would be
Dallas
amazing
fan, that'd be
for
great.
us.
I don't see the Clippers doing that.
I
But
mean,
and I saw his argument for selling jerseys, Kyrie in LA, obviously.
yeah, I mean
huge
that's
market.
new stadiums opening.
But-
Well, this is the thing. Paul George and Kawhi have one more year under contract, then they're gone.
Yeah,
And I don't think they're coming back to LA.
I know. I saw that video too, and that's a pipe dream, obviously, as a Mavs fan to get Paul or Kawhi for Kyrie. But
I think that could be something the Clippers would consider, though, knowing that George and Kawhi have only 1 year left, and then like if we do sign and trade for Kyrie, it's a 4-year deal, so he's gonna be here for 4 years. That might convince the other player we don't trade to stay.
Anything, maybe Paul George for Kyrie because they say you can't stay healthy in the play. But I don't think LA believes that a Kyrie Paul George duo, even if they are healthy, could win it all. A
Kawhi and
I'm saying a Kawhi
Yeah.
Kyrie if they're healthy, fully forced. That
I was gonna say, who do you
could.
think? Actually, well, one, who would the Clippers rather trade, and who would you rather have?
I would,
Obviously, you'd take Kawhi, but there's so much shit
he
that
doesn't
comes with
play.
it.
I would rather have Kawhi, and I think they'd rather trade PG.
I think I agree with you. But I think in that organization that would be a real discussion about what. Like, let's say they're hell bent on getting Kyrie. I think they'd have a long meeting about which one. Because I think Kawhi's pissed them off to high hell.
Oh yeah, I mean I know Ty Lue was super pissed by the time he left. There were so
Yeah.
many reports about he was
Well,
just
that's
pissed
another
off
good
because he
point.
couldn't play.
Ty Lue's there. He could probably mend Kyrie a little bit.
Yeah, I just don't see themselves convincing themselves that
I don't
Kyrie
either.
could be it.
I mean
but
I don't know.
it's a fun idea, but
Yeah, I mean shit. I mean part of me would almost. But they're both so injury prone. But Paul George plays. I guess does he play more than Kawhi? I mean,
I think
he
so.
does.
yeah.
He
But I mean
does.
Kawhi's just like he had like one really good game in the playoffs after he load managed the
And
entire
then he
season.
tore his
and then
meniscus like randomly.
It's just
Yeah.
like he didn't even like look bad in the game. There was no sign.
You didn't
of
even
it.
see the injury, and it
No.
happened. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just-
But,
I don't know.
yeah.
Okay. Well, another guy that's moving on. We just briefly mentioned him, but Fred VanVleet. I mean, it sounds like do we think he's going back to Toronto, or I feel like there's gonna be a new home.
I
for him
feel like
somewhere.
Van Fleet, like something's gonna come out of left field.
I-
Like some random team's gonna pick him up, and
Yeah.
I feel like we don't know yet.
I don't think he's going back to. I think
I think he's out of
it's going to be
Toronto.
another deal to where one of these teams with cap space, like the Magic or the Rockets, are going to offer him a bunch of money to go be that big brother type of point guard in there, and kind of set the example. Maybe hope he accelerates the progression of some of their young guards.
Think about the
That's
Nets.
what I
You
see.
can go to the Nets.
Do they have the cap?
I was gonna say, do they have cap?
I don't think they have
I
the
mean,
cap.
The
I mean,
teams.
who are they
Van Vliet is the prime guy that's going to a cap abundance.
You've heard
team.
rumblings about Van Fleet to Philly. Obviously, it'd have to be a sign and trade pending they lose Harden. I think that could be interesting, though. You have Nick Nurse in there. Now, the only concern you have is you have Maxey and Van Fleet, so you have two
but
undersized guards.
Even if they lose Harden, I don't think they have the cap like other teams would to offer Van Vliet.
No, they wouldn't. That's what I'm saying. You got to do sign and
They
trade.
would sign and trade.
But that's the thing. I still think you'd probably have to give up Tobias still.
Yeah. But yeah, I think
Which after that Mobley, that report that came out about them offering Tobias to Cleveland for Mobley and like someone else and a first-round pick, I don't even know if they would do Van
Yeah.
Fleet for Tobias straight up.
I think considering that he got paid once, this is going to be his last big payday. Probably he's going to go to a team with a rich cap room.
yeah.
That's what I think. But
What is it going to be? Houston?
Houston, the Magic, maybe Utah, but they just took on Collins.
I feel like the
San
Magic-
I
Antonio?
was just about to say the Magic
makes a lot of sense.
Magic
That
could
sounds
be
even-
kind of spicy.
that
San
sounds
Antonio.
intriguing.
San Antonio, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be actually really.
I think the
good.
Magic could be kind of spicy.
for sure.
You got Wagner, you got Paulo,
The
only
you
thing-
got Markelle Fultz. Like
Yeah.
you got some good
I mean, the thing with the
pieces.
Magic is they have Fultz, they have Cole Anthony, they have Jalen Suggs.
Right.
They just drafted Anthony Black, so if they were to sign Van Vliet,
That's true.
you're getting rid of at least one of the. You're not getting rid of Black, who just picked him. They're probably getting rid of Fultz or Suggs,
or Anthony. They've been
Or
trying to.
I
trade
bet
Anthony.
Cole Anthony's gone.
or one of those would be gone for sure. But yeah, I think
that could be an interesting team. I
gonna
mean,
go to
the
too
Magic
much
wouldn't
cap.
be competing for a championship, but I think they'd be right in the thick
to-
of it,
to-
competing for the playoffs.
to help out their young guys. I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind it.
I like the Spurs too because I think with Wemby coming in there, they're going to be probably pretty competitive. Not obviously.
and
like
they're going to want to
championship
get him
contender,
help
but
too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're going to have to get him help. They
I
have
just
like
don't
Keldon
know
Johnson,
if
like
you're-
Devin Vassell. And
I
like,
just
that's it.
don't know if you're San Antonio if you want to go for a 30-year-old guy on a big contract. Like I feel like if you're San Antonio, you'd want to go get like the Grant Williams of the world and the Dylan Brooks of the world, the guys who are still like somewhat young.
Yeah.
that you're not going to have to pay a fortune for. Because if you give Van Fleet a 4-year deal, like, really when the Spurs are really going to be able to compete is in, like, three years.
Yeah.
And that's when Van Fleet's 34 years old making $45 million, which I don't know if they want that.
Y'all guess what he shot from the field last year, Fred Van Fleet?
3-point or
just from the field?
39%.
39%.
what?
I only looked. I saw
He's
yesterday.
one of the least efficient players in the NBA.
He shot 39% from the field?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's really bad.
That's beyond
Well, the
bad.
fact that
Oh
he's
my
like
God.
the fact that he was like, I mean, he was like the go-to guard on that team.
Yeah.
Like beside, I mean, the other best player was Siakam, but I mean, he's probably taking a lot of shots he probably shouldn't be. I'd
Yeah,
imagine.
he's taking a lot of highly contested shots.
Well, he's their
but-
only guard.
Well,
Really.
especially if he goes somewhere like Orlando, it's like Franz is going to take care of a lot of the ball handling. Paolo's going to take a lot of shots.
Right.
He probably isn't.
And he's a
taking,
good playmaker,
He'd probably be
so-
taking more efficient shots. You would think.
Because he's the kind of guy like all of these contenders want him, but they don't have the cap room to get him. So
Right.
he's going to go to a young team with cap to help out their young guys, probably. I would think.
So the Lakers could be interested. They could still only offer that 32.
Yeah.
They'd have to do a sign and trade,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
but
I mean, they could
Yeah.
do something around D'Angelo
Yeah.
Russell.
yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, moving on to another intriguing guy, Chris Middleton opted out of his option with the Bucks, so he's technically a free agent. It sounds like he's probably going to go back on a lesser deal
I feel
for.
like he's gotta go
Yeah,
back.
if we want to parlay, just get Brooke Lopez out of the way too. I think they both go back to Milwaukee.
I think Lopez is gone.
You
He's
think
the
There's
one
been
getting a lot of money.
so many rumors about him going to so many places.
Houston's been a big name for Brooke
and he's
Lopez.
so old now that it's like, and he could still cash in because he's still so good.
I mean, he was Defensive Player of the Year running last year. He
Yeah.
can stretch the floor.
he's a great
I mean,
shooter,
he's a
great
center
inside
any team
presence.
dreams of having.
Exactly. No, I mean, I think like a team like the Warriors, obviously, a team like Warriors would have to do sign and trade for him, especially getting Chris Paul. They need a big to run pick and roll with. That could be a great
But
spot for him.
there's no realistic scenario for them to get Brooke Lopez.
They'd have to sign and trade
I mean,
for sure.
I
What
mean,
contract are they getting off there? 'Cause, I
Yeah.
mean, they already got. I mean, how much? I mean, I know the pool
it
contract.
would have to be
obviously, they
Wiggins
fucked
or
on.
like Draymond.
Well,
Or
yeah.
Paul. They're
I
not
mean,
gonna-
unless they wanted to go deep into the luxury tax, and then, well, you know what you could do? You could go deep into the luxury tax for a year, and then you would have to plan on not re-signing Clay the next season.
Well, no, they can't trade at all for him unless they match it. The salary side.
Are they over the second apron?
Yeah, they're one of the.
Oh,
high,
yeah,
they
they're definitely
they
on
are
the
one of the
apron.
most
Oh,
taxed.
I think even
teams.
after the pool deal, they're still well over it.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
Chris
they're-
Paul's
yeah.
still bringing in $30 million if they're
And I don't think-
keeping him.
Yeah, unless they trade a Chris Paul for him, but that wouldn't make any sense for Milwaukee. I think they both, because I think with the thing with Milwaukee is like, I think if Milwaukee looked last postseason, they had a healthy Chris and a healthy Giannis, then they feel like they could have ran the East and won the finals.
Of course.
And if you're Milwaukee, it's like you let one or both those guys go.
I don't think they can.
Then how does that
re-sign
help
both
Gian-
of them though?
They can. They're just going to
They
go really
can?
deep in the because they're on the Bucks. They could just go
Yeah.
deeper in the tax. And I think
Who's their owner though? I mean, does their
I don't
owner
know,
have those
but-
pockets to do that?
I think that's what'll happen with it. But I mean, outside of Giannis, and they don't. I mean, they're paying Drew. Yeah, I mean, they're going to be one of the most taxed teams in the league if they sign both those.
I feel like
But-
Middleton comes back. I just have a feeling Lopez is gone. I don't know where he's
I feel
going.
like somebody could offer
I
Lopez
just
some
I
good
just
money.
feel like Lopez is such a center like that is such a hot commodity for teams to get. That some team will come out and be like, all right, we'll pay for Brooke Lopez,
I think
whether it's a
I
young
think
team or not.
Houston's a prime time for all of these.
Of
Like,
course.
like 3 to 7 or 8 top free agent
Yeah.
guys because they have like 65 mil in cap. And they keep talking about how they want to speed up the progression of this team and
especially with
accelerate the
Udoka.
rebuild. So
I mean, you
Yeah.
think Portland could give him a big deal or give him enough money?
Not if they re-sign Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, they'd have to let.
and then
Jeremy
also
Grant
too,
go.
it's like even if you're Portland, you sign Brooke Lopez.
You're still garbage.
Well, it
you're
sounds
getting
like
a
they,
5,
it
6
sounds
seed,
like they
best
still
case.
think they're going to
Tops,
try and
yeah.
win now, and it's the GM's coming out saying they think they can win now, which is like
I don't
know
even think
what the
I don't
fuck
even
they're
think
doing.
Portland's worth even talking about at this
Yeah,
point.
I don't even want to talk about Portland.
I don't
I don't know
either.
what the fuck
Portland's
they're doing.
it just pisses me off
Yeah,
to talk
it's
about
just-
Portland.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
man's land.
They're just
Damn a
ridiculous.
bitch. So another guy, Draymond Green. I mean, it's kind of we just think for sure he's going back to Golden State. Or
I think he's going back to Golden State, but one team I don't think he'll leave, but the Kings. I think the Kings
Kings.
would be intriguing. There's the Mike Brown connection, and we saw last year, even when Green played with Looney, they were still great. I don't think
Yep.
and I know he had the Sabonis beef in the playoffs, but the Kings' defense was terrible, and I think a guy like Draymond would benefit the Kings tremendously.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I don't.
yeah.
I don't think he leaves Golden State though.
I don't think he leaves Golden State. I think the fit with him and Sabonis would be kind of weird because Sabonis is kind of that big man facilitator for that team too.
But
I don't know where Sabonis is.
Green is their vocal defensive guy.
100%. He's there for the defense, but offensively, I feel like I don't know
when
his
they
value.
When they
because
ran
his
Green
value,
and Looney last year, they played well with
right,
both of
but
them in there.
but Looney doesn't pass. Sabonis is a great passer. Sabonis runs that like point big man role for them, averaging like 5-6 assists a game. Like I feel like the value of Green offensively would be diminished by going to Sacramento. I feel like he wouldn't have the same effect on the offense because he's obviously gonna have the effect on the defense, but he's so valuable for the Warriors offensively too because of his passing and his setting up plays and everything.
I think they're making a real. I mean, they got rid of Holmes for a reason.
They got like 32 in cap.
They're trying to get. They're trying to get somebody.
Yeah.
So, and I think for Sacramento, that would be their dream signing.
It'd be a great signing for them in general.
And you weaken one of your top opponents in the Warriors.
100%. And they're an up and coming team too. Like they're one of those young teams in the West that it's like this team's gonna be here for a while. They're not on the level of Denver, but it's like Denver's gonna be here for a while. Sacramento's gonna be here for a while. Like who knows if they're ever gonna make a finals,
but they're gonna be competitive.
They're gonna be competitive. So going to get another top notch guy like Draymond, obviously with the championships, helps a ton.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Are there any other free agents you guys want to talk about? Or do you just want to?
I mean, there's Harden, but I think most likely Harden's
going to 7 to 6 years.
It's just Houston or
there's the Houston thing. Harden would have to sell his soul to go back to Houston.
Houston would have to sell their soul to bring him back. Houston, that would be so stupid of Houston.
That'd be bad.
I mean, like, what is Houston trying to do with that?
I mean, they'd be trying to sell tickets and get a big A-list name in there.
I mean,
Harden's not that kind of player right now.
I think Houston can sell tickets right now. I mean, their young core is insane.
Not if they had Harden in there.
Well, right. Well, it's because of the connection of Harden.
But like I said earlier, I think the Harden to Houston's a bunch of smoke.
For sure.
And Harden's using that to help his advantage, to have Philly pay him that max.
Oh, for sure. And I think he also is using that.
That's benefiting him tremendously.
Because a lot of reports came out they didn't like Doc either. And I think the Sixers were kind of like, you guys either got to pick Harden or Doc. And they clearly chose, it sounds like they're choosing Harden.
Well, yeah. Go with Doc.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, and then with Philly's case, I think they don't really, they're kind of in a sticky situation where they don't have much of a choice. They kind of have to resign him at this point. Yeah. So.
No, he was too important what they did last year.
But that's the thing, like with Harden, like let's say they re-sign Harden, and I know this is getting a little off track, but if they re-sign Harden, get bounced in the second round again, then the Embiid talk starts.
And then we're really talking about something.
We're really talking about Embiid moving next offseason, because if you sign Harden to a 3-year deal and you flame out in the second round again, it's like, all right, it's time. Yeah. Like something's got to change, and Harden's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Tobias still on a ridiculous contract. Maxi's young.
I think Tobias is going to be gone before the next season, but
probably.
More than likely.
But yeah,
I don't know what team's going to take his contract, though.
I mean, I feel like those are all the free agents worth talking about.
No, for sure. Did you guys drop any trades you guys find interesting?
I have one trade. Now, this isn't very realistic, but just hear me out. And so I ran this through the NBA trade machine, and it makes sense. It would go through if this actually happened. Mm-hmm. But Kawhi Leonard,
that's the one I was
for Gary Trent, Chris Bocher, Thaddeus Young, and 4 first-round picks from Toronto.
Going back to Toronto.
Kawhi's going back to Toronto. LA at this point, they're going in a full rebuild. They're going to trade Paul George too. They're picking up 4 first unprotected picks, which in today's NBA, these picks are valued more than ever.
Yep.
And for a 33-year-old Kawhi Leonard, I mean, especially what we're seeing guys like Bradley Beal.
I think that's a great. If you can get 4 first for Kawhi,
and even at that point,
with all the shit
Gary
that comes
Trent
with
and
them,
Chris Bocher, those they're not great players, but those are 2 decently guys. They could eventually flip for something too. But then for Toronto's thing, at this point, if Toronto makes this trade, they're going all in, right? They're going to re-sign Van Vliet, get deep in the tax, and they're going to re-sign Jacob Hurtle too.
Yeah.
And imagine a Toronto team with Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Kawhi Leonard, Pascal Siakam, Jacob Hurtle, Scotty Barnes, Grady Dick, Precious Achua.
I don't think they'd be able to re-sign Van Fleet with that.
Well, they could if they just go because he got drafted by.
Yeah,
Toronto.
I mean they
would be in the Clippers type of tax apron.
Yeah.
But this is a move to where if Toronto says, you know what, we're kind of in no man's land right now, and we want to regain and make the country of Canada happy and ecstatic like we were a few years ago when Kawhi won it for us. Could you imagine the defense with OG, Kawhi, Siakam, and Poto in your starting 4?
Yeah.
That just
Van Fleet too.
the
Van Fleet's a good
offense is
defender.
one thing, but that defense alone would be insane.
Oh yeah.
I think if they, I know, and that's obviously like not that realistic, but if they could run a starting 5 of that, and then you have Scotty Barnes as your 6th man, Grady Dick with the offensive punch off the bench,
good lord.
Preston Achua coming off. I mean,
I
think
if
if
between
that they would be right there with Boston as the biggest, and Milwaukee as the
100%.
next
No
favorite
doubt.
team.
If you have a healthy Kawhi,
I mean-
I'd take them over everyone.
Yeah,
I mean, well, dude, between Kawhi, OG, Pascal, and Scotty Barnes, I mean, your perimeter defense is going to be just
it's
off the
lockdown.
that might be
charts.
that might be the best perimeter defense of any team ever.
Literally, yeah.
Like, and I know, like, my thing with for Toronto, the case for Toronto is like they're just stuck in this no man's land right now. So, and I know they're not going to do this probably, but it's like, why not either go all in with something like that,
Or blow
or
it up.
keep Scotty and then trade everything else?
Yeah.
And if they were to make a move like that, oh my God, could you imagine Raptors fans would be jizzing their pants? You know how
Oh, God,
excited
yeah.
they would be. I mean, that would be a scary starting 5 right there. And still
Yeah.
with good Scotty Barnes, your 6th man.
Mhm.
Grady Dick with the offensive firepower off the bench. They don't
The
even
shooting.
need Grady Dick doesn't need to play a lick of defense. Just shoot for us, young man.
Yeah.
And I mean,
That's
Preston
actually a
Achua.
really interesting spot because Toronto has so many pieces. It's
They
just
do.
You don't know what they're doing.
And I mean, they made the move once.
Yeah.
They could do it again. I guess I feel like the only way that would happen is if like Kawhi is actually like playing and like halfway through the season, like the Raptors are like, fuck it, we're gonna put all our chips in because I feel like
Like
still,
a deadline
I
move.
still feel like, I mean, yes, trading. I feel like unfortunately the going price for Kyrie would or for Kawhi would be all those first round picks, but it's like he just does not.
I don't
play.
know if it would. 4 firsts for Kawhi.
He just doesn't.
And that's
play.
what
I don't
could
think-
I could
I
have
don't think
said
he's
those
worth that.
pieces in 2 or 3 picks.
Yeah,
I
think
just
it'd
said
be-
that because I think if LA was in the mindset of let's blow it up,
Yeah.
they would accept that trade.
100%.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
they
Well,
might
I mean,
accept
Gary,
that trade
Gary
for
Trent
2 or
Jr.
3.
and Chris Bochert, those are 2 good young players.
Yeah.
They're nothing that's going to be a foundational piece, but those are good guys to have in a rebuild. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, well, I think
Like-
Gary Trent's a free agent, so we'll see.
No,
what
he's got 2 more years.
He's got 2 more years.
Yeah,
Still?
he's on 2 for 17 a year.
That's not
a
bad
great
at all.
deal.
So,
That's great.
I mean,
That's great.
And yeah, I mean, for Toronto, that if you get a healthy Kawhi come playoff time with that core, and we've already seen Kawhi win with Toronto once. I mean, the thing is, he did leave Toronto for a reason.
Well,
but
in that hypothetical world, if they do that, Paul George is moving.
mhm.
They're not keeping both. They're like,
oh yeah, no. In that,
Paul
yeah,
George is
yeah,
gone at that point.
In that world, they're unloading Paul George. They're unloading Batum, Morris, whoever's
So what
making
is- I
money
mean,
Whoever
like,
they can.
to go into full. They're going into full rebuild if they do. That,
I mean,
for
the
sure.
Paul George for Scoot Henderson makes sense in that world.
Yeah.
If you do the swap there, which I think
Yeah.
for the Clippers would be
Yeah,
amazing.
and that's a whole rabbit hole we could go down.
Yeah,
there if that happened.
absolutely.
But yeah, do you have any trades?
No.
I had like, what did I have? I had another one. This one's probably a trade for next season if it were to get to that with the Sixers, getting bounced in the second round. But Joel Embiid for Jalen Williams, Poku, the other Jalen Williams, Trey Mann, and there's a bunch of other picks, like 4 or 5 picks they could add. But I think the Thunder are set up to where they've collected
yeah.
so many assets, and they you can't use all these picks, right?
Yeah.
No.
And the Thunder, if they got an Embiid,
What are you gonna do with Chet?
I mean, you run Chet at the 4. I mean, Chet.
I feel like you
Chet-
could just trade Chet at that
You
point.
could probably trade, but the Thunder are one team that I think next season comes around. They're going to be a team to where any of these disgruntled superstars, they are obviously the prime time team to go make a
100%.
splash. You pair a Shea with Joel Embiid, and then you got the ascension of Josh Giddey.
Yep.
You got Cason Wallace.
Well,
who they
shit.
just
If you
drafted.
throw in Chet instead of the good Jalen Williams, you keep Jalen Williams.
Yeah, I mean, and you can
I don't see how Chet and Joel would.
And with that, you
thrive
you
together.
could
That'd be a
you,
weird
you
fit.
could you could do that one either way,
Yeah.
however you want
Yeah.
to do it. I think the Thunder still value Chet more than the good Jalen Williams.
oh, I do too.
In fact, they have 2
I
Jalen.
really-
Williams.
yeah, I know.
I will say, because I do like the Thunder at some point, whenever they decide
They're gonna go
they're
in.
ready, like they will go
Oh,
ahead and
well,
make
they
it a
have all
twelve.
the assets
and
in
I
the
think they're a lot
world.
closer than we think.
100. Well, with
Oh yeah,
Shea,
well, they made the
I mean,
play-in
yeah.
last year.
Yeah, with Shea and Giddey,
Mhm.
I mean, they're and the good Jalen Williams, they're ready
Yeah.
to go.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
and
And
Lou Dort,
And we
like,
don't even know what Chet. I mean, what if Chet goes and balls out? you know?
Right,
So
yeah.
and then I had one more. This is a smaller one, but I think DeAndre Ayton's going to be out of Phoenix. But DeAndre Ayton to the Bulls for Patrick Williams, Alex Caruso, and Derek Jones. I don't really know how I like this for the Bulls as much because that team's not contending. But for the Suns' sake, you get Patrick Williams, who's still on a rookie deal.
Good
to go and start your 4. You get Alex Caruso, who made an all-defensive team.
Yeah.
And then Derek Jones, who's your 8th, 9th guy.
I just
don't. They just
extended
Vucevic.
Vucevic.
So did they extend
Yeah,
Vucevic?
they
3 years,
yeah,
60 million.
I didn't
mil.
see that.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
But
No.
for that one, if I'm the Suns, I'm looking for a trade like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, I think going back to Embiid, I think if Embiid ever becomes available, I really think the Knicks are going to
100%.
do everything in their
The
power
Knicks are
going
going
to
to break the
him
bank
there.
for him.
Yeah.
Oh, they will.
That's
give him
where the
everything.
that's where
As
the
they
RJ
should,
Barrett
too.
trade comes in.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. All right, just hypothetically going down the Mavs rabbit hole, we have some assets now, some young assets.
We got a few.
We're going to get more picks in the future. If we were to let Kyrie walk,
Which is not happening.
or we just hypothetically, if we let Kyrie walk, or we trade him, let's say we trade him to Houston for like Kevin Porter Jr. and Sagoon or whatever, then Philly flames out in the playoffs next year. We package Sagoon, KPJ, Josh Green, Omax, and 2 firsts. Send it to Philly for Joel.
I mean,
Like, I feel like if you're Dallas, like, is that not on your radar? Like, listen, like, there is a
Embiid.
real possibility that a generational big man who would be perfect to fit with Luka, like that Giannis narrative that happened 3 years ago, that was like, there is an opportunity next offseason where if Philly flames out in the second round, which I think everyone would bet they would, you have the potential to make that trade.
I like that. I don't think Dallas is looking that deep down the rabbit hole, though. I think they're just saying we're just going to re-sign
I feel like they
Kyrie.
got to have it on their
and-
radar.
I mean, they're
though.
trying to
in
build
a
the roster
hypothetical-
right now and re-sign Kyrie.
Right,
so
but,
they're
like,
In a
let's-
hypothetical world, if you could say that's on the table next season, I'd love that. But
It very well could be.
it could.
I mean,
be, but
is anyone thinking the Sixers are going to win the East next year?
I don't think so.
no. But I think the Sixers think they can. So I
They've
think
thought they
they're
could
gonna
for 5 years now.
hold on. But the bigger part on that is the fact of Dallas trading Kyrie to a team like Houston to get those
right,
pieces.
it's the
to then
Kyrie
trade
issue.
for
It's the
Embiid.
Kyrie issue that I
And
don't
if
know
Dallas
how you get around.
signs Kyrie, then we're married to him.
The only thing
So
you
then
could
you don't
possibly
have the
do is
assets
you
to
sign
trade
him
for
and you
an Embiid.
trade him at the deadline or something.
Because if Embiid becomes available next offseason, then we do not trade Kyrie to get those pieces that would be a part of that hypothetical trade. Then Josh Green and Omax and some picks, there's going to be someone offering a way better package for Embiid.
Well, you would throw in our whole young core. You would have to do Omax,
And I still
Lively, Hardy.
The Thunder would
Green,
still be able to top
and
that
picks.
package.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's what if I had to.
Well,
if,
with Chet,
if
spearheading
if hypothetical
that package,
if there was a place to bet on Embiid's next team, I would bet the Thunder.
I would bet the Knicks just because I feel like the Knicks are going to do everything
yeah.
in their power.
And this
Yeah.
and this is down a deep rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Deep.
No, but that's a serious conversation about Joel Embiid. Like,
Oh, for
it's
sure.
not happening now,
But we got
that
another
conversation is going
But
to
yeah,
happen
next
in a year.
season if they flame out in the
Yeah,
second round.
That's
again,
going to be that's
then
going to
yeah, for
dominate
sure.
headlines.
Well,
next
especially, I
year.
mean, the scapegoat was Doc Rivers. They got him out of there. It's like at this point, if he doesn't get past second round, he was a complete bitch, and we think we should get past there anyway.
Well, the scapegoat I think will be Harden at that point, but
then what do you do if you've signed Harden to a 3-year deal?
I think you're married to him, but I think for the media's eyes and the fans' eyes, Harden will still be
100%.
the scapegoat.
I don't know. I think the
Embiid-
media is turning on Embiid.
I think
I
Embiid.
think we are.
I think Embiid would have to say he wants out of Philly for them to trade him.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, Philly wouldn't trade Embiid
No,
unless he demanded
He
it.
would have to say, "I want out."
But
trade
I
me."
think he could,
He could.
after
I
next
think
offseason,
we'll see next year.
especially if he's looking down the barrel of I'm stuck with an aging James Harden for the next 3 years because we just signed him to a 3-year max. We won't let Maxey develop. We're still stuck on Tobias's contract. It's like, what the hell am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like, we've been running into a brick wall here for 5 years.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
could really see him because he's, 28, 29 now?
Yeah.
That it's like, I have to go win. Like,
Well,
I don't have a choice now.
I really think because the last couple of years he's got his injuries have happened, and just like these like soft tissue bullshit starts happening in the playoffs, and he's not playing as well. I feel like this happened a lot this past year because he was so hell bent on winning the MVP that he played a lot more when he probably didn't have to in the regular
Yeah.
season. Because like the Nuggets that last month, they didn't go all out by any means. So I feel like this next year, I feel like Embiid's probably going to load manage himself a little bit more, so he is ready.
And
for
that's
that
what I
playoff
said
run.
last week too. Is they should load manage him next year.
Yeah.
100%. Like
I think now these guys MVP.
he got his
like-
MVP. You
like
can check
there's-
that one
yeah.
off, Joe.
Okay, do you think any way Knicks or the Sixers would trade to Brooklyn?
For what?
a
Ben
package.
Simmons?
But do you think they would trade him that close, like to home? You think they would trade him in their own
If they had
division?
the best package,
Because
maybe.
like just hypothetically, if Brooklyn were to trade for Dame this offseason, I don't know how much it depends on how much you'd have to give up for Dame. If they still had the assets to do it, if you could get Dame, Mikal Bridges, and Joel Embiid, you would be rocking.
That'd be a fun
rolling.
team.
Yeah.
And that's a team that has the assets to do it.
Yeah.
And you also take him away from your rival, the Knicks, too.
Yeah.
Which would be huge.
We'll see what happens with them.
Yeah, that's always.
It'll be. That'll be an interesting narrative to cover all season.
That's next off-season talk. Okay, well, let's move on. I brought up a nice little juicy segment. It's gonna be
Juicy
as fuck. It's gonna be a Jokic or blank player, and these are all-time guys. You got to pick in their primes. Who would you rather have? Push comes to shove.
Like to be the centerpiece
To
of
be
your
the
team.
centerpiece
Yeah,
of
to
your
be the centerpiece
franchise.
of your franchise. Yeah.
So you get him at like 23.
Yeah, whatever his
whenever
prime
that-
is,
whenever that
whatever the
guy's
best
prime
version
was,
of these
okay.
guys are.
Okay.
Take him. All right, first up, the Joker or Kevin Durant.
I'm picking Joker. We just saw the Joker win the
Over
championship
Kevin Durant?
as
I'm
the
taking Jokic
as the
too.
favorite one. KD has not done that.
What?
The only two championships
KD
he
But he
won.
played the Heat.
He was also 1A and
I don't
1B.
care what they lose. What?
with
Three or four
Steph.
games in the
You,
entire
you
postseason?
could say he was the one on the Warriors.
He was
team
the
when they
one on
won
the
it.
Warriors.
But
he
you
was
could-
the best player.
But
on
there's
Golden
also an
State.
argument to say like Steph was the most valuable piece.
Yeah.
He also
But-
joined a
but
73
I think
and
This
9
season with the
team.
Nuggets, there's obviously zero argument that Jokic was not the most important player. He's off
Yeah.
back-to-back MVP, or 2 years in a row. He should have won MVP this
Yep.
year. And Jokic makes everyone around him so much better on a level that KD does not. The way Jokic moves the ball makes Bruce Brown's about to get $20 million a year because
Okay,
of Jokic.
Bruce Brown was awesome on the
What
Nets,
did Aaron
too.
Gordon do before Jokic?
He was
we thought
stuck in Orlando.
But we thought,
so.
but before this, we thought of Aaron Gordon as a draft bust.
More so, what has KD really done
Okay,
since he's left the Warriors?
let me just make this argument. One, when Kevin Durant was with Oklahoma City.
Wait, would you pick KD over Jokic?
I'm still deciding, but I'm just gonna make the argument for the sake of argument. When he was with OKC, he was going through the Mavs when the Mavs were really good. He was going through the Duncan Spurs. He was going through the Kobe Lakers, and if he ever got through, he was going against the LeBron Heat. I know Jokic and what Denver did this season was amazing. Let's not act like they had to go through that much talent and superior teams that like the West was 10
How many
years
MVPs does KD have?
One.
Jokic has 2.
Gotta beat there.
Well, Steve Nash has 2.
I think he's
so
going to get
let's-
another one.
Kobe has 1. Steve Nash has 2. So I don't know if that's.
And I think Jokic is going to win another finals or 2, honestly.
Yeah, he might.
But also
think,
it's like,
I
I
think
mean-
when Durant was by himself on that Oklahoma City team, when it was his team, the talent that he had to go through and the competition he had to go through, I think was far better.
I mean, you
than
can
what
look at
Jokic did
was
this
hard.
season.
You can look at that, but he
have
also
a few years.
he
since
also had a
Golden
prime
State.
Russell Westbrook and a young James Harden.
Well, he had Harden for like
A year or two.
A year or
Was it?
two.
Yeah.
And then
When
on
he
the,
was a
for the
six-man.
Warriors, he played with the best team ever.
right. Yeah.
But then
No,
since
I'm not
he's
defending
left
the
Golden
Warriors
State,
thing,
it's just
but-
he hasn't. I mean, what has he done? I mean, what he was. I mean,
Hasn't done
if
nothing.
his foot wasn't on the
Playoff
line,
time.
but his foot was on the line.
I think
I'm
I
for
would.
sure
I think
picking
I would
Joker.
take Jokic. I think that's really fucking close.
it's very
I
close,
think
but
that's
Jokic gets
picking
everyone
hairs.
involved. I mean,
I think Jokic is more that LeBron factor where it's like,
Exactly.
You can put it- you can
just-
give him
just
a
answered
shitty
it. You
team.
just answered it.
yeah, but KD's
Everyone
also
around
the
him-
Jordan factor where it's like if you give
No,
Kevin Durant a good
no,
team,
no,
yes,
no,
it
no.
is.
He doesn't have that dog like Jordan does
but
by
when
any
you
means.
can get a hired gun like Jordan or Durant and put him on an already great team, they're unbeatable. Like LeBron, and you know I think the world of LeBron, he's the greatest player of all time.
So hold on. If you're saying KD has the Jordan-like factor, right? Jordan
he
had,
plays more like
he
that
had-
style.
But then why couldn't KD do it with a prime Russell Westbrook and a James Harden who wasn't at his peak, but he was still an all-star caliber player?
I think that was one because Durant wasn't a leader, and I think
Still
two,
they were
still isn't a
babies
leader.
with
still
that.
isn't a leader.
Jokic
You're right.
is a
You're right.
leader.
He's
Yeah.
still not a leader.
Jokic
They
is,
were babies.
Jokic
I agree
is
with that.
probably the most
Hold on.
selfless player
Let me
in the
answer.
league.
Let me answer your question. You're right. Durant's never been a leader. I think Jokic is a better leader. I think that has more to do with how the West was. Dude, back then, the fucking 7 seed in the West was winning 50 games. The West was insane.
I get that argument, but you cannot fault Jokic.
I'm not faulting Jokic. I'm still saying I'd probably pick Jokic, but I'm saying Durant. Like, I know Durant never won one with OKC, but what he had to go through, you would, like I said, Kobe Lakers, Duncan Kawhi Spurs. You had Dirk Mavs. You had CP Blake Griffin Clippers. Like, that conference was insane. You had Marc Gasol, grit and grind Memphis, who was the 2 seed every year. Like, that, the West back then was like the best a conference has ever been. So I know it was hard. And then if you ended up getting out of that complete shit fest of the West, then you came up against LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. Mm-hmm. So I understand the thing. He didn't win it, and I do fault him for that. But at the same time, it's like, that man was having to go up against, like, the best the league has been in the Western Conference.
He was also so young for a lot of that. Like, even when they made it to the finals against the Heat, they were like babies. When
they were babies. They shouldn't have been there. Everyone was picking the Spurs to be there.
Yeah. So, but I brought this up a few weeks ago. But if KD never went to the Warriors and he never had a chip on his resume, how would we view KD to this point?
He'd be the greatest player ever to not have a finals.
Oh yeah.
He'd be the best player ever to not win a finals.
Jokic Jokic is up there with boosting and elevating the guys around him than anyone.
He's up there with LeBron.
He's up there.
Yeah,
and that's why
making players better.
And that's why LeBron's your GOAT.
Fucking like Larry Bird, guys like that. I mean,
his basketball IQ we've never seen a big man pass like this ever. The fact that he could hit. I mean, some of those threes
Jokic
he hit.
Doesn't make mistakes.
That's
the thing.
He
doesn't make any mistakes.
He's one of a kind. We've never seen a player like him ever.
No, we haven't. He's a complete unicorn.
I fucking love
even
Jokic.
LeBron. Like, at peak, LeBron was averaging like 6 turnovers a game. Jokic is like every single time he gets the ball, he does the exact, like, if you ran it through a model, you'd be like, what's the best decision you can make with the ball in this specific scenario? He does that every single time.
And his stock is only going to get higher because
100%.
They're going to lose Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, whoever the fuck. But, I mean, this core with him, Jamal, and Gordon is locked in, and I think they got a few more chips in them.
I would take Jokic because if we're just saying I get this player to build my franchise around, I think it's easier to build your franchise around Jokic. Obviously, they're both just all-time great players. But, like, if someone could tell me, like, I have another MVP-level player on my team, that's when I would say, okay, maybe I'll take KD. But in the world of just saying I'm going to build around one guy and we'll see what happens with the rest of it, I'd probably take Jokic.
Yeah. Well, I think also, like, Jokic's usage rate, like, isn't up there with a lot of other guys because he doesn't just, like, sit and dribble.
He's just like a fulcrum. He's a fulcrum of the offense.
He gets everybody involved. Yeah. Everyone has the ball. Everyone touches the ball. And it's like that's what makes him so good. Is like, I mean, they always would play better when those assist numbers are higher than when they're lower. Even if he drops 50, the team plays better when he drops 25 and has those 12 assists. But, yeah, I mean, KD's fantastic. One of the all-time greats. But, I don't know. Jokic does more for me in the end, I feel like.
I tend to agree. I think that's razor thin, though.
Yes. Now, would you say that Jokic's 1 is equal to KD's 2?
No, Jokic's 1 means more than KD's 2.
Yeah.
I completely, no.
I'd agree with
that. I don't give a shit that KD won 2 finals with Golden State.
No.
I don't care about that at all. No, like, those finals mean nothing to me.
No, it's pretty funny how that worked out. Like, we just, like, kind of, like, discredit them completely. It's
like, no, yeah. I mean,
he joined a 73-9 team, like, after he just got beat, too, and it was like, really, dude? Like, what the fuck?
That team was, I mean, already arguably, that team should have won the year before. They were up 3-1 on the Cavs. Obviously, LeBron came back and won, but it's like, that team was already one of the greatest teams of all time, and then you added a top 20 player all time to that team.
Yeah, no, it's
like, there's no reason.
It was fucked up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now we're going to talk Jokic or another player from that Warriors team. Jokic or Steph Curry?
I'm going Steph.
I think that one's a lot more tougher than Jokic or KD.
I think it's because of leadership.
I think
the leadership's the same.
I think, it's probably the same.
Oh, I think what Steph does offensively, I know what Jokic does offensively, getting his teammates involved and everything. What Steph does to a defense and the pressure you have to give Steph, I'm taking Steph.
I'm gonna agree, and I feel like a lot of people would fall into recency bias and pick Jokic, but I'm gonna pick Steph as well.
I think I'm gonna go Jokic. It might be recency bias, whatever.
Really?
It's so hard, but
what Steph does to a defense, though,
he does. He
there's no one that's had more of effect. Steph has had the
game.
most effect
He changed the fucking game
on a defense.
I'm not mad. I could go either way on this one.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna give Steph the credit for what he has done, but when it's all said how old is Jokic? 28.
29.
In
like
7-8 years, when he's matched up with Steph's age, I easily could switch to Jokic. But just for right now,
we got to see what he does.
Based on what Steph has done, I'm going to still pick Steph.
I'm going to take Steph, too.
Fuck it, I'm going with Jokic.
And I'm not mad at I could easily go Jokic, too. I could understand that.
All right. Jokic or Kevin Garnett?
Jokic by a country mile.
By a country mile. Hell yeah. I would go Jokic as well. Jokic or Dirk?
It stings, but I'm gonna go Jokic.
It's Jokic. It's really not.
It's diehard Mavs.
It's really not.
I want to pick Dirk, but you can't pick Dirk.
All right, Jokic and arguably maybe the best player in the game right now besides him, Giannis.
Oh, that's tough. That might be the toughest one.
Giannis. I'm going Giannis.
I feel that you go either way on it.
For me, it's the defense.
Yeah,
Giannis is just
and
so
Jokic
good
has
at
stepped up
defense.
he's not an elite defender, but he's a good defender.
But Giannis got that. I mean, no one's gonna argue that Jokic doesn't have a
Well,
dog
I
in him,
think
but
we're
Giannis
also-
has some.
I think we're
fucking
also
dog in him.
looking at the next 5 years is going to be a battle between Giannis and Jokic.
Probably.
Like I would bet 4 out of the next 5 championships are won by the 2 of them.
I'm gonna go Jokic.
Like that's how NBA history works. Is like you typically like these teams form, these all-time great players form, and they run a decade.
I'm
I think it's going to be
go
Giannis and Jokic
just because this is the first year we've seen Jokic with a fully just staffed
Really?
personnel around him, and Giannis has had that for the past 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Jokic.
I'm going Giannis.
That's hard because Jokic can truly take over a game offensively, but Giannis can do the same thing on defense.
He can do both.
He can do, but Giannis offensively still isn't what getting a bucket
I mean,
just
he did drop 50 points.
He did,
in
but
game
I think
6 of the
Jokic
closeout game of the
elevates the
finals.
players around him more than Giannis.
But
He
he also hits so many tough shots.
He hit some shots in these past playoffs that you're just like, there's no way in hell that's going in.
I mean,
And
his touch around the
Jokic
rim is
doesn't make
insane.
even his three-point shooting's great nowadays. There's not a weakness at all. The thing with Giannis is you could, if he doesn't have pieces around him, you could just stack the deck inside on Giannis.
Because all he has the HP dive.
Jokic,
half
you
the
can't.
time.
If Jokic couldn't shoot threes, then sure, but he can shoot the 3-ball. There's
Yeah.
no real weakness in Jokic at all. Even defense, he's still he's a good defender.
He's a good defender.
He's not obviously
elite
Giannis
by
level.
any
He's not elite,
Right.
but he is an adequate defensive center at this point. I'm gonna pick Jokic.
Well, Giannis also can't really shoot. That's the other thing.
Yeah, he
that does
can't
it for
shoot,
me.
and that's
he
what we
won't hit
and
free
that's
throws
what
as well
and
as
that's what we
Jokic.
saw in the Heat series. And when Giannis loses, teams just sag
We've
off
seen
him.
Giannis do
and
it.
let
Though.
him
He
shoot.
did it when he won
Yes.
the championship.
But he can't shoot and you can get Giannis to the free throw line, and you
mean-
could hope on that. Jokic is. I think with Giannis, there's a game plan to where we know there's a way. You're not going to stop him fully, right? But there's a way that we could draw up something to limit him. With Jokic, there's no way to limit him. He's going to get his.
The only way to limit him is to let him score 40.
Exactly.
That's the best way to limit him.
Exactly.
But defensively,
you can't do
can
that in a 7-game series.
You can find weaknesses in his game defensively too.
Yes, absolutely.
You could expose
But in
him
the
especially
NBA,
compared to Giannis.
we value scoring and then
Yes.
playmaking much more than defense. So I'm going to give it to Jokic.
Yeah. I mean,
Jokic's playmaking just, I think, elevates him.
I'm going to go Giannis's because of his defense over it. But, I mean, yeah, it's razor thin.
Yeah,
Now-
I could go either way on it.
I'm wondering now if let's say Giannis and Jokic switch places, who do you think wins, that Bucks team with Jokic or that Nuggets team with Giannis?
Like for this past season?
Yeah, for this past season.
Is Middleton healthy?
Because it's pretty much the same team.
Is Middleton healthy?
Yes, it's basically
Well, if Middleton's healthy, yeah, give me Jokic Actually, but they have Brooke Lopez. I don't know, but the fit. It's all about the fit at that point.
Yeah,
though.
you wouldn't have Brooke Lopez on your team at that point.
Yeah, I don't really like that just because.
I mean, I think they would have met.
Constructed.
I still think the Nuggets would have won the finals. I think if you had swapped Jokic and Giannis, I still think they would have beat the Timberwolves, the Suns, the Lakers, and the Heat. I mean, who?
Yeah.
I mean, like, do you think? I don't think the Heat are taking them out.
But I don't think that
maybe the Lakers.
I don't think that argument's fair though, just because if you put Jokic on the Bucks and they have Brooke Lopez there, then that you're not gonna have Brooke Lopez.
Okay,
let's
let's say
swap
you
him for
just for the Bucks' sake. Let's say you give them Jokic and Aaron Gordon, and you take away Brooke Lopez and Giannis. So you have Drew
on the Bucks,
Holiday.
You're swapping Lopez for Gordon.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
So you have Drew Holiday, Middleton, Aaron Gordon, Jokic.
I still feel like I trust.
I'm taking that Bucks team.
I think that Bucks team would win too.
I still feel like I trust Jokic in that situation more than Giannis. Like, 'cause I feel you could put Jokic on just about any team and he makes them better, no doubt.
Well,
the pieces
I actually
around
think the fit on Milwaukee with Jokic would be great too because they're so loaded defensively.
Yeah.
Like defensively, they're set everywhere, so his deficiencies defensively wouldn't be as.
Well, and
they're not that bad anyway.
And you have I mean, you're even gonna have like guys Grayson Allen just feasting on threes with Jokic.
100%.
Well, I also feel like with Jokic, he's interchangeable. I feel like any team you put him on, they're gonna be better no matter what. I feel like with Giannis, you got to have the right set of pieces around him for that team to win.
Jokic his fit is more.
So that's why I'm gonna go with Jokic as well because I feel like no doubt anywhere he goes. He's almost like got somewhat of like almost like a Patrick Mahomes factor.
Yeah.
Of like wherever you send him, he's gonna make that.
I mean,
team
remember
better
last year how we said that for Mahomes, if you were to place Mahomes on any team, we believe that team would make the playoffs, including like the Texans and the worst teams in the league. I think Jokic is the thing. Because think about it last year. Jokic didn't have Jamal Murray. He didn't have Aaron Gordon. Michael Porter was hurt.
Still made it to the playoffs.
He still made the 6th seed. So, I mean, Jokic is that same kind of effect to where you could have scrubs around him. The team's not going to be good, but they could make the playoffs for sure.
Yeah. No.
Solely because of how he boosts everybody's stock.
Exactly. And just how good he is on his own. Just I mean, literally just getting buckets.
Exactly.
I mean, he is truly one of a kind.
He's one of a kind for sure.
All right. Luke's getting another beer. I'll wait till Luke gets back.
Is that it for the
No, I got a couple. I got a couple more. We'll make them quick. But I'll wait for Buzzsaw to get back here. Okay, real quick. Dwayne Wade.
Jokic.
Dwayne Wade. Yeah,
I think it's easy.
This next one's pretty easy too. Steve Nash or Jokic?
Yeah, Jokic. Yeah. I think we can move on from that.
All right.
I think Luke.
Yeah.
Luke, you would pick Jokic over Wade and Nash, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and the last one. This is more debatable. Shaq.
I know who. Shaq. I don't.
Okay.
I don't think that's close.
With this though, if like you're saying I'm getting prime Shaq for like 15 seasons.
Well, you're getting Shaq for his career,
right? But no, we're saying the prime alpha peak
you're
version
getting
of him,
him
right?
for his whole career, essentially. You're not getting his prime for 15 years because no one has.
That's impossible.
No one has their prime for 15 seasons. You're getting like the whole shebang.
Oh, I thought we were saying like you get this guy for their prime.
I thought we were just saying. I mean,
but your prime's not gonna last 15 years.
But I thought we were like you get this guy.
More so we're doing like kind of doing
their
like a
prime
fantasy
for
draft.
You get this guy at like 21.
I thought we were saying like prime.
No, I was thinking prime. Like you're building a team like fantasy draft style.
Like this player is going to be prime for 10 seasons or some shit,
something
right?
like that. Yes, like 5, 6 seasons, whatever.
Well, I don't think you can say that with Shaq because if you get prime Shaq for 10 years, you're picking him over literally anyone.
Okay, then let's say just like the one season, the best version of Jokic, best version of Shaq.
Well, best version of Shaq's better than any player ever. So
possibly, yeah, that's a good point. Okay.
I mean,
let's say 5-year window.
5-year window.
Your best, the player's best 5-year window. I'm taking Shaq.
God, those Shaq years with the fucking.
I mean,
Lakers,
when
though.
Shaq was at his peak, Shaq was the best player ever.
I'll be the contrary. I'll still take Jokic.
What?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna go Shaq.
Over Shaq? Like 2000 Shaq?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go Shaq too.
Just because, like, yes, Shaq on offense and defense in his prime, just insane. But I don't know if Shaq doesn't have Kobe and Shaq's my God. I just think the way Jokic elevates everybody around him is just otherworldly. And I'm going to bet on that.
Dude, Shaq averaged like
38,
16, and 3 blocks in the finals.
I could go either way. I'm just trying to be the contrary here with Jokic. But
yeah, I'm going Shaq.
I'm going
Shaq. All right.
I think that's the only definitive one. That's the only definitive one I can say I would take over Jokic. All the other ones are razor thin or Jokic by a mile.
Yeah. Do you want to go over them real quick?
No, I think we're good.
Good. All right. Now it's list time.
List time, buddy.
All right. I got a list.
Got lots of lists.
Tbones got a list. Buzzsaws got a list.
We all got a list.
And
all right, boys, we got 45 minutes.
All right.
Got an
Well,
hour.
I'm gonna be I'm gonna be kicking this thing off with my current top 10 shooting guards in the NBA. I'm gonna kick things off with a few honorable mentions. All right, so my honorable mentions, I got a few. So I feel like all these guys need to be mentioned. So I got Anthony Simons, R.J. Barrett, Jalen Green, C.J. McCollum, Terry Rozier, Fred VanVleet, and Josh Giddey.
Okay.
So a few guys there. All right, kicking things off with number 10, going to DeJounte Murray. At number 9, I got Bradley Beal. 8, Klay Thompson. 7, Zach LaVine. 6, Desmond Bane. 5, James Harden. 4, Anthony Edwards. 3, Jaylen Brown. 2, Donovan Mitchell. And 1, Devin Booker. Let's discuss.
Okay, so my bold take on this shooting guard list is the top. I think the top 2, Book and then Mitchell. That's probably everyone's 1 and 2.
Oh, I don't think this
is that.
I think I think you could make a case Jaylen Brown should be 2. I think that's easy. Top 3 is.
Okay, well,
yes,
I think Booker's
okay.
Booker's easily
Booker's
1. I don't think anyone's disputed that.
So
personally, I would take Jaylen Brown over Mitchell.
So my bold, I would take AE over Jaylen Brown.
What? You take Anthony Edwards over
I would
Jaylen
take
Brown?
Not yet.
Brown.
I think eventually.
Okay, why would you not take him over Donovan Mitchell? If that's the
because
case.
Donovan Mitchell, yes, he has a lot of talent around him, but he was the de facto number 1 on a top 4 seed this past year.
They got bounced in 5 by the Jalen Brunson-led Knicks.
Jaylen Brown, though, has been the 2 on this team for the past,
Well, he's never had another opportunity.
Years, and Jaylen Brown
I don't
has never
think in any world that Jaylen Brown will be
You don't think Jaylen Brown wins more than 1 game with that Cavs team against the Knicks?
No, because
I
think he'd be a worse 1 than Donovan Mitchell.
Why?
Jaylen Brown,
Jaylen
Brown is
Donovan Mitchell gets the ball and just drives straight to. He's like Russell Westbrook. He drives straight to the basket, doesn't know what he's doing, and then he scores 40 with no assists and they lose, or he shoots 10 of 30.
Jaylen Brown can't dribble half the time, it seems like.
Yeah, but Jaylen Brown is also way better at defense. He is
better.
bigger.
What is Jaylen Brown?
And he's not as much of a volume shooter.
What is Jaylen Brown though without all the talent around him?
What's Donovan Mitchell?
I mean,
I definitely know. I definitely.
He was the one for the Jazz, who were the 1 seed a few years ago.
That team was loaded.
Brought the Jazz to the playoffs. I mean,
I bet that Celtics team beats
have been loaded
with Donovan
the whole
Mitchell.
career for Jaylen Brown.
Bullshit.
Oh, I totally think so.
Okay,
why do you like Donovan Mitchell so much?
I think he's.
Donovan Mitchell doesn't pass.
I know, but Tatum is the 1, and you have Donovan Mitchell as the 2. I think.
How does that work? You have 2 guys who don't pass.
I really think it's not like Jaylen Brown's a fucking massive.
Yeah, but Jaylen Brown's not a volume shooter like that. If you have both of those guys on the same team, they're jacking 50 shots a game.
But Jaylen Brown, if Jaylen Brown was in Donovan Mitchell's role, he is not getting the shot selection that he's getting with Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, Al Horford, everyone around him.
Brown is easily the number 2 scoring option on that team.
Yeah, he is.
So he's still getting pressure.
He is.
It's not Marcus Smart's the one who's benefiting. Jaylen Brown's is the one who's not benefiting.
My thing though with the Anthony Edwards, it's very well maybe premature.
I think
eventually. But when we break their games down, Anthony Edwards, you can make the case, is Jaylen Brown with actual. Jaylen Brown has no handles. Anthony Edwards is the number 1 on a Minnesota team. Yes, they were the 8 seed. Say what you want. They beat the Nuggets for 1 game, whatever that matters. Anthony Edwards, though, my main thing with it is Anthony Edwards, I know if I am in the playoffs and it is crunch time, Anthony Edwards wants the ball. Anthony Edwards wants to be that guy
I'll make a case
to win a game. When
has
Jaylen Brown been that guy?
I'll say I can make a case. I'd take Anthony Edwards over Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell got one game with Mobley, Garland, and Jared Allen and a good bench against the Knicks.
But Donovan Mitchell has been doing it for 5-6 years.
He's never done anything.
He was the one. Yeah, but then again, if you were to put Jaylen Brown on those Jazz teams, how good are they?
Jaylen Brown took longer to develop.
Let's think about the narrative. If Jaylen Brown or if Donovan Mitchell was drafted at 3 by Boston, does Boston win a championship with or does Mitchell win a championship with Boston, or do they do the same thing, or are they worse?
I think they do the same thing, or possibly worse. I don't think it pushes them over the edge. Like especially combining him with Tatum. Those are 2 volume shooters who have no interest to pass, and
it's
all
not
their
like Brown does either. He has
but Brown doesn't shoot the ball a ton. Brown doesn't take 25 shots a game. That's the only thing Mitchell knows how to do. Did you not watch the Knicks series? Literally, the Cleveland would get off track in like 3 minutes, and Donovan Mitchell would just say, "Okay, fuck it," and he would literally take 10 shots.
But Donovan Mitchell,
Darius Garland,
Donovan Mitchell.
No, it's not. They give the ball to Mitchell, and he
there's
just
a
takes
reason
off.
they traded the farm for Donovan. For Cleveland's sake, Donovan is the guy. Jaylen Brown does not have the pressure of being the guy, and I don't think he will ever be the guy. And that's my argument.
No, but they're both twos.
That's my argument with Ant over Jaylen Brown. And it may be premature, like I said, but I think eventually Ant could be a one-on-one championship team. But for right now, Ant has much better handles than Jaylen Brown. Defensively, they're almost
why do you think he's not better than Mitchell?
They're both complete athletes. Because I've seen Mitchell do it for 5 to 6 years of being the number one. I've seen him get a
Jaylen Brown has way more playoff success than Donovan Mitchell.
Well, look at the teams around him. You want to make the argument.
Dude, the Jazz were the 1 seed like 2 years in a row.
Who was his number 2?
Gobert,
Rudy
Ingles.
Gobert.
Who was their shooting guard?
Or
their point guard?
Really?
Conley. Dude, they had good players.
Look
that
at
Jazz team was the 1 seed.
Look at the Celtics team this past year.
No, but
look at the Celtics team for the past 3 to 4 years.
This year. The Celtics have overachieved up until this season.
They haven't.
Yes, they have. The Celtics have always been the young team that got to the conference finals when they should have.
The Celtics should have won a championship. Yeah, like 5 years ago.
Up until 2 years ago.
The past 3 years, the Celtics should have been in the Eastern Conference Finals or in the finals.
No,
they made one.
Dude, the last 2 years they should have.
So you think that beyond this year they have completely overachieved?
2 years. Yeah, they've completely overachieved. Dude, Jaylen Brown and Tatum have been in the league for, 6, 7 years? They've been in the conference finals 5 times in their 7 years in the league. That's the definition of overachieving.
And those teams have still been way more talented than Donovan Mitchell's teams.
I don't think not really.
Rudy Gobert is your number 2?
Dude, they were the 1 seed every year.
Does that not... The Jazz were the 1 seed.
Yeah.
And does that not get
And they
any
flamed out
slack?
every time in the playoffs. They never even made conference finals.
I want to see Jaylen Brown have to be the guy.
We're not going to see that.
But and that's the whole argument. Is he has never had to
but
be
you can't
the
just make
guy.
your argument off that.
I can. Yeah, I can.
Why? You had
then why can you
it's
give
not
him the
a
benefit
reality.
of the doubt? Because he's the number 2.
Because
he would do better than Donovan Mitchell.
Because
Donovan Mitchell has been
done
the
nothing.
guy. Jaylen Brown. What has Jaylen Brown won?
He's done
nothing.
a shitload more than Mitchell.
Nothing. He's done nothing.
He's gone to a finals and been to 4 conference finals in 7 years.
And look at the amount of talent that he has had with him. He has had a guy that many people say is a top 5 guy in the NBA, in Jason Tatum. The best player Donovan Mitchell has played with, what do you want to say, Rudy Gobert, Darius Garland?
Dude, he won.
They don't compare to Jason Tatum. They don't compare to Jason
Tatum.
Tatum.
One game against the Knicks this season.
One. Yes.
That's awful.
And but you can't only say, look at the one game they won against the Knicks. They should have beat the Knicks. Yes, I agree with that.
They should have won more than one game.
They should have won more than one game. But Jaylen Brown has never had to be the alpha to where this is your team. Donovan Mitchell, since after his second year, has been catapulted with Utah as the number 1. Cleveland trades a farm for him. They say, you are our number 1. Donovan Mitchell is not a number 1.
No.
I agree with that. No. Jaylen Brown and neither, though.
No.
They're neither of them number 1s. And
they're not.
And it's unfair for Mitchell because we want to put him in this, you got to be the one to win a
championship.
championship.
But it's unfair to handicap Brown because he's never had a situation where he could be the one. You can't just handicap him because he's never had the situation. Brown averaged 27, 6 and 4 this year. He was on second team All NBA.
Jaylen Brown in the playoffs averaged 20. Jaylen Brown in the playoffs averaged 23, 6 and 3, 50 and 35, respectively. But 23. I need more than 23 points in the playoffs from you. With everything that's around you.
As the number 2 option, that's what you need in the playoffs.
More. Whenever you have 2 all-defensive NBA guys at your guards, you have one of the best fits in Al Horford. I know Robert Williams didn't really play, but I mean this Celtics team this past year, that team was absolutely.
They were loaded, but that's more on Tatum than Brown.
There's no. Well, when are we going to put blame on Brown?
When do you ever put blame on the number 2 guy? That never happens. If let's say,
because we're comparing him as a 2 to a 1 in Mitchell.
No, but Mitchell's not a 1.
How is that fair? Mitchell is the 1 on the Cavs.
Yeah, but he shouldn't be.
He shouldn't be, but he is forced into the 1 to
right.
where if Brown was forced into the 1, I
think they would have won one more game.
They might.
One.
Okay,
actually, one. If you swap them, Brown and Garland go together way better than Mitchell and Garland. Because Mitchell
we're not talking about
just
fit.
is a one-man wrecking
We're not
crew.
talking about a fit though.
But we're talking about swapping.
We're just talking about the who's the better player. Who would you rather build on? Who's the better player?
I'd rather build on Jaylen Brown.
How can you run an offense through Jaylen Brown?
You don't have to run an offense through a player. Like you didn't. The Bulls didn't run the offense through Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was the hired gun who they put in a spot in the offense to dominate. Not everyone's LeBron and Jokic who you run the whole thing through. And that's what Mitchell tries to do. Mitchell literally gets the ball and is like, I'm going to do everything. He can't, and he doesn't know another way to do it. If you build around Brown, you can build an amazing team around Brown.
I agree with that. I agree that Mitchell is not the 1. But my whole thing is he has been forced after his second year to be the 1 for the Jazz teams, be the 1 for Cleveland this past year. And that's not his fault that he's been forced into that role.
It's not.
And
it's also not Jaylen Brown's fault.
It's not Jaylen's fault either. But as a preference, I would take Mitchell over him. But going back to Ant, I would take Ant over Jaylen Brown. We look at handles. Anthony Edwards is he has Jaylen Brown obviously is terrible. They're both equal shooters. They're both great on defense.
Brown's a better shooter than Anthony Edwards.
I mean, Jaylen Brown shot 34% from 3. Anthony Edwards shot 37 from 3 this year. Anthony Edwards was also one of took arguably some of the toughest shots in the league this year.
I'll take Jaylen Brown shooting, but whatever.
And Anthony Edwards, I know Anthony Edwards, they were down 3-0 against the Nuggets, and Anthony Edwards won them that game. I know they only won 1, but he won them that game.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
And Anthony Edwards has that dog in him to where Jaylen Brown, with Jaylen Brown and Tatum, it's like, who you want to be the guy? We don't know.
Okay.
If I have Ant on that Celtics team, I know Ant's going to say, fuck this, fuck Tatum. I'm going to take over. It's my time. There's a minute left in the game.
You can't
Give me
have
the fucking
that
ball.
with Tatum, though. You can't have.
Yeah, you can.
You're
Tatum
number
needs
2.
That.
You're
Tatum
number 2.
Needs that.
No.
Tatum needs. That's the whole thing with Tatum.
You're number 2.
Tatum has not stepped up to the plate.
Your number 2 cannot
guy.
just look at your number 1, go fuck you. I'm gonna take this game over. You take a back seat. That's not how that works.
I think Tatum needs that.
He might need that, but that's not how that works.
It doesn't. It's not because normally the number 1s will just accept the role, embrace it, and they'll do it. But Tatum hasn't done that.
No.
Obviously, Tatum. I think if Ant was there, Ant would embrace that and accept it and say, okay, I will be the guy right now. You don't want the ball. You don't want to take less. I'll be that guy. I got this dog in me. I'm going for it.
And you think that
propels
Boston to a title? Is Anthony Edwards leading them?
No, not saying leading them, but being that guy, come down and crunch
so he gets
time.
them to the finals.
Oh, if you were to swap Brown and
you think Anthony Edwards gets them to the finals?
Made the finals?
Okay, so Anthony Edwards won 1 game with a much worse team against Denver, who steamrolled everyone. Donovan Mitchell won 1 game with a better team.
No, I'm not talking about Donovan Mitchell more.
I'm just
talking
asking.
About Ant versus
I'm
Brown.
asking why you're on Brown. You're attacking Brown when this postseason Donovan Mitchell was garbage, and like they both won 1 game, but Mitchell did it with a better team against a much worse team. Anthony Edwards did it as a one-man wrecking crew against the best team in the league. Why are you not putting the same type of scrutiny on Mitchell?
I put Ant ahead of Mitchell.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
You have Edwards at 2.
I have Brown at 4.
Oh, you put him over both of them.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I have Brown at 4.
Okay.
And I think though if Ant's on Boston, I think they get past Miami. I don't know if they beat Denver, but I think they get past Miami.
Okay.
And you'll know I love Anthony Edwards.
I'm not going to argue with Anthony Edwards. I love Anthony Edwards. I think it's premature.
If we're looking outlook in the future, I
premature.
definitely have Anthony Edwards at 2 behind Booker. Like future outlook for sure. But right now, I really think Brown and Donovan Mitchell can be interchangeable wherever you want to put them. But I definitely think Edwards.
Yeah, I would have
guys,
Brown. I would have Brown at 4.
Okay, I'd have Brown at 2. But
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Another guy I was.
Okay. Also, Zach LaVine at 7.
Wait,
we're gonna talk about Zach LaVine at 7.
Can you go back through your 5 through 10 real quick?
James Harden 5, Bane 6, LaVine 7, Thompson 8, Beal 9, DeJounte Murray 10. And yes, I put LaVine lower than Bane because I still
No. I think LaVine should be like 9.
Oh, you think?
Why do you have him over Beal and Klay Thompson?
He was still his numbers were so.
I would have
winning
LaVine
at
over
all.
Klay Thompson at this point in their careers.
You would?
I would because I would definitely still rather take LaVine over Thompson and Beal.
Thompson.
Because LaVine's still good and he's still efficient.
I would put Beal at 7.
I would have Beal at 5.
I wouldn't mind having Beal at 5.
Maybe I'm low on Beal. Because another guy I'm high on was Desmond Bane. I was really high on Bane.
I like Bane.
I
like Bane too. I would have Bane at 7. But my thing with Beal is, y'all say what you want about Beal, but he had his most efficient year of his whole career this past year.
He did have an efficient.
He didn't average 32 points like he did a few years ago. But they also, in the past few years, he hasn't had – KP averaged 23, Kuzma averaged 21. So they did – those past few seasons, it was Beal, all right, you're the only guy. You're getting all the buckets here. He had to defer much more this year to KP and Kuzma, and that's what I think Beal's going to cook with the Suns. I think he's absolutely going to cook with the Suns as the third option. I think
He'll
Bradley.
get better shots.
I think Bradley Beal. I'm not saying I think the Suns are going to win it, but I think if Bradley Beal is your third option, that's as good as a fucking third option as you can get, even at this point of his career where he's at. So
I agree with that.
I would have Beal at 5. I like Bane. I think Bane's just a guy that'll fit anywhere. He's going to give you.
I love.
He
Bane.
plays great defense. Too.
I would
That's why
put
like
Bane over LaVine, Thompson, and Beal, even maybe Harden.
Yeah, I think
I was
almost
thinking about putting him 5 over Harden, but Harden's still the
Harden's
playmaking.
Still
it's
such
the playmaking.
a playmaker.
For me, 6 through 8, LaVine, Bane, Thompson. I could really go any way on those.
I would just put LaVine at the back of that. LaVine does nothing to win games.
My thing with LaVine though is we haven't seen him in these situations, and I think my thing with current Klay Thompson, I think if Chicago no, I don't think they would accept that because of the loyalty with Steph and Klay. But I think on the court, I think LaVine would give them more than Klay does right now at this point.
I think so too, because Thompson's defense has dropped off.
Slipped off dramatically.
Injuries.
And Clay's really only giving you shooting at this point. He's not going to play make.
You have to take
His
into
defense
account
isn't great.
the chemistry that they
No,
have.
that's
absolutely.
what I said. I don't think they would switch that up because of the loyalty with it.
I know that, but like just as a basketball level in that offense, I'd rather have Klay Thompson. The chemistry that they already have is insane. You can make a case that Zach LaVine's more talented right now than Klay Thompson.
He's definitely more talented.
I think Klay Thompson affects winning more.
Did you have Murray in your top 10?
I put DeJounte 10.
Okay, I still like Murray in the top 10. I know he didn't have a great.
I think he belongs at 10.
I think I would have him at 9, but
who do you have at 10?
McCollum.
Who do you not have in?
I not have in Anthony.
No, Cole. Who do you not have in?
That he has in?
Yeah. Klay?
Oh well, no, I didn't list James as a shooting guard, so that's why.
Oh, okay.
But
so Clay's in your top 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
He'd be at 8 for me.
Okay.
And I feel like DeJounte, because there's still there's 7 guys who I feel you could put at 10.
I think at this time next season, Josh Giddey will be in there.
Oh, for sure.
Klay, LaVine, and DeJounte Murray.
Dude, what is he, 19 or 20?
Well,
20.
And he's shot the ball so much better this year than last year. Sky's the limit.
And he also is a good playmaker, good at getting boards.
For me though, I think the top 5 is kind of the top 4 is for sure solidified.
Yeah.
And
I
then
thought the top 9 was pretty solidified.
Yeah. And and then in my Van Fleet or actually he might be a point guard technically.
No, they have him listed as a shooting guard, which I was surprised.
Once I saw Van Fleet shot 39% from the field, I was like, he would not be in my top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just too low.
But I think that's good there.
All right, you want me to run through this real quick?
Sure.
Okay. All right, my top 10 shooting guards right now. 10, DeJounte Murray. 9, Bradley Beal. 8, Klay Thompson. 7, Zach LaVine. 6, Desmond Bane. 5, James Harden. 4, Anthony Edwards. 3, Jaylen Brown. 2, Donovan Mitchell. And 1, Devin Booker. And next list, Tbones got a
That was good arguments.
big time
It was.
top 10 under 25.
All right.
All right, we're gonna have to speed.
We got 30 minutes, 40 minutes. All right,
No, we
so
don't.
my top 10 under 25. So for my honorable mentions, I have Josh Giddey, Paulo Banchero, Evan Mobley, Franz Wagner, and Scotty Barnes. And then my top 10 players under 25 goes as follows. At number 10, I have Darius Garland. At number 9, I have Jaren Jackson Jr. At number 8, I have LaMelo Ball. At 7, I have Zion. 6, Trae Young. 5, Tyrese Halliburton. 4, Ja Morant. 3, Anthony Edwards.
There's your guy.
2, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Number 1, Luka.
Wait, tilt your screen. John Morant belongs over Anthony Edwards.
I put Ant over him because of
You
all
love you some
You do
Ant.
love
I
Ant.
love Ant.
John
Ant.
Morant
and
deserves
I
to be
think
over Anthony
Ja
Edwards.
Morant's a fucking complete
I think John
jackass
Morant
in all
deserves to be at 2.
No, he does not deserve to be over
Yeah,
Shea.
he does.
No, with the off-court shit, no.
Dude. It's still Ja. Like we're talking about just
shit-
the play. I know that he comes with
I
the
mean,
off-court
what's the
shit.
Grizzlies' record without Ja Morant? That's a good
Yes,
Grizzlies
but the
team.
Grizzlies have been like the 2 seed the last 2 seasons. Shea,
I
know he's on a crap team and everything. He still hasn't done anything.
He was
Other
All-NBA
than
first
average
team.
ridiculous
made
numbers on a
All-NBA
shitty
first
team. Yeah, he did.
and he was
was
beyond
great.
efficient, and he's a great
I love
defender.
Shea.
Doesn't have
I
a
love
weakness in
Shea,
his
but
game,
Shea
really.
still hasn't proven anything.
Shea's also like 22.
Well, what's Ja?
I mean,
They're all under
24.
25. So
Yeah.
I mean, like, what are we talking about?
My thing would if
Hang
Ja-
on.
if none of this off the court shit happened with Ja, I would have him at 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
My reason with Ja, I have him at 4 is because of all this off the court shit, and I think that's the thing that's gonna really fuck up the locker room and team around chemistry, and that's why that for me that bumps Ja down.
I mean, okay, Halliburton at 5. We've already had Halliburton arguments. I don't even want to go into the Halliburton thing. We're just gonna repeat what
So would
we
you
said.
Trae Young over Halliburton?
I would do Trae Young. I would do Zion.
Do you know what the so
I would do Zion.
just for reference? Last
Halliburton.
year the Pacers, Halliburton, he had a 10-game stretch where he got hurt and he missed 10 games. The Pacers were in. They were I think the 7 or 8 seed when he played. They lost 9 out of their 10 games when Halliburton went out. Just for reference.
Okay.
And Zion, I have Zion. I don't really know where to put Zion.
Just can't stay on the court.
Zion could be at 2 if he played, but I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, no
like-
doubt.
I would put Ja. I would do Ja 2. SGA 3. Anthony Edwards 4. I would put Halliburton somewhere around.
I think the 4
8 or
are pretty
9.
solidified. The top.
That's
4.
the top
Yeah,
4 for
no doubt.
sure. Honestly, I think you should put Trae at 5. I'd have Zion over Halliburton. I don't even know if I'd have LaMelo in it. I probably would. I like Jaren Jackson though.
Yeah.
I like you
Yeah.
putting Jackson.
I mean,
in.
Jaren Jack. I mean, he's what he does on defense.
His
is
defensive
obviously
ability is
insane.
insane.
He could stretch the floor, and
Yeah.
if he just develops any sort of post game, he could bump up these rankings even more.
What does he rebound? How are his rebounding numbers?
He averaged 7 rebounds a game.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how many
That-
blocks did he average, though?
That-
I mean,
his
defensively,
blocking
That
Jaren-
number needs to.
Jaren
bump up.
Jackson Jr. just defensively.
Okay, he
belongs
needs to
in there.
average 10 boards a game though. There's no reason he should be averaging under 10 a game.
What else do y'all got on this?
Well, I think there's a lot of guys, especially in the honorable mentions, who will definitely find themselves in this list.
Yeah,
Between
like,
like
I think-
Giddey, Paolo,
I think next year,
Mobley.
like Paolo will for sure be in the top 10.
I think Giddey's gonna be in the top 10.
Should be too.
Mobley possibly too. Mobley's really.
I was
good.
gonna say I think I might have Mobley over Jaren Jackson. Honestly, I do like Jaren Jackson being in
Well,
it.
I think right now,
Mobley-
Jaren Jackson is still a better
he's a-
defender, and he can stretch the floor
It's
for you.
close.
I
And
think
Jaren Jackson won Defensive Player of the Year.
yeah, but
Mobley-
I still
Mobley
think
was a
Mobley
close
was
second.
I think second place.
Yeah, he was second.
I would probably take Mobley defensively. Jaren Jackson's more refined offensively, so I'm fine with it. But I think next year Mobley's going to be pushing top 5. In
He
that.
could, but Mobley just really can't stretch the floor for you right now,
Yeah.
where Jaren Jackson can. If you have Jaren
Yes.
Jackson open in the corner, you're gonna pass it to him, and he's gonna shoot it, and you got a
Yeah,
decent shot, he'll knock it down.
You know, he's got an ugly ass
So-
shot.
Even though he does, yeah.
I still think Ja deserves to be 2. I know the off court shit is obviously
if,
there.
If the off the court
I mean-
shit didn't happen with Ja, I would have him at 2.
No, we need.
I
need a
solely
clean
have him at
stretch.
2 because of all this controversy with him, and
Yeah.
for me that's a big thing. I don't like that shit at all.
No, we need a clean stretch from Ja here with no dumbass activity.
Well, we'll see what he does. But Ja is still, I mean, he's still one of the up and coming faces of the league, regardless of the issues obviously the issues have put a massive impediment on that.
Yeah.
But if you take that away from it, which I know you can't, he's clearly the number 2.
Yeah. And for me, that's reflected in his rank.
That's fair.
All right, you want to run through it?
Sure. So my top 10 players under 25 in the NBA goes as follows. Number 10, I have Darius Garland. Number 9, I have Jaren Jackson Jr. 8, LaMelo Ball. 7, Zion Williamson. 6, Trae Young. 5, Tyrese Halliburton. 4, John Morant. 3, Anthony Edwards. 2, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Number 1, the Don Luka Doncic.
The Don.
Buzzsaw, give it to us. Top 10 small forwards right now.
You want it?
I want it. I need it.
I'll give it to you.
I need it.
I'll give it to you.
Thank God.
All right. Top 10 small forwards
You got
in the
honorable
NBA
mentions?
right now. Of course I got
Okay.
honorable mentions. What is this? Come on.
It's not amateur hour.
OG Anunoby. This is honorable mentions. OG Anunoby, Franz Wagner, Kyle Kuzma, Michael Porter Jr., Jaden McDaniels, DeAndre Hunter, Scotty Barnes. There's not that many good small forwards in the league, as I learned. At number 10, Andrew Wiggins. Number 9, Chris Middleton. Number 8, DeMar DeRozan. Number 7, Mikal Bridges. Number 6, Brandon Ingram. Number 5, Paul George. Number 4, Kawhi Leonard. Number 3, Jason Tatum. Number 2, Jaylen Brown. And number 1, LeBron.
Where's Jimmy? Wait, Jaylen Brown. You have
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, where did I say Jaylen Brown?
2.
Jimmy
You mean
Butler.
Jimmy
Butler.
Butler. Jimmy Butler's
okay.
at 2.
Okay.
Braun, Jimmy, Tatum, Kawhi, Paul George. That's
Okay.
top 5.
Do you think you could switch Ingram and Paul George?
I really wanted to.
I would for mine. I had Paul 1 ahead of Bi, or ahead of Paul George.
You had B.I. ahead of Paul George?
No, I had Bi right behind Paul George.
That's where I have
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. Okay.
I have Paul George at 5, Brandon Ingram at 6.
Mine
really wonder
differs.
if you could
I have
switch
I have
them.
Michael ahead of Paul George and Bi.
What?
I would have Michael at 5.
Who do you have at? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Do you have the same? What's your top 4?
LeBron, Jimmy, Kawhi, Tatum.
Okay, so you just swapped Tatum and Kawhi.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just I know with Kawhi with the injuries,
Yeah.
but I just
I mean, you can make a case Kawhi healthy's number 1.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
No,
if you told me
And I don't like Tatum.
I
so-
hate Tatum. If you told me I could get Kawhi for 7 healthy games in a series, I would put Kawhi number 1.
For sure.
Absolutely.
But there's just so much shit that
Did
I
you have
got.
LeBron
I gotta
at
put,
1?
Yeah, I put Braun. at
Okay,
1.
I like that.
Boy, you have Bridges over B.I. and Paul George?
Yeah.
That's.
I don't know about
Interesting.
that.
My thing
yet.
with Bridges
I think
is
that's premature as well.
it might be premature, but I
he
think
wants
with
to get a head start on these guys.
I think with Bi, I have him ahead of Bi. I think offensively they're going to give you the same thing, and Michael is one of the best.
No, Bi has a much bigger bag than Mikal Bridges, easily.
I mean
Brandon Ingram is a monster on offense.
I mean they
The defense is where Mikal Bridges.
offensively they average the same splits.
Well, I mean that's because Mikal Bridges was on the Suns,
No,
or I mean the Nets.
and he was the number 1 on the Nets.
yeah, but who the hell else was going to score? Spencer
I mean, but
Dinwiddie.
he did it efficiently though.
He did.
And my thing with Bi is not giving you too much defensively, and Michael is. I just love having a guy. If we're facing LeBron or Kawhi or Jimmy,
Yes.
I can say, okay, this is your guy for the series.
Right.
You're on him, and that's why. For
We've
Michael,
only
that gives me a
seen
bump.
Mikal as a honestly, we've only seen Mikal as a top 10 small forward in the league because when he was with Phoenix, I don't even know if he was a top 10 small
Yeah,
forward.
well, he didn't.
We've
have the
only seen it for
opportunity.
2 months.
Yeah.
And like you said when we were talking about who were we were talking about Giannis versus Jokic, and you were saying you'll take Giannis or you'll take Jokic because of how much of a factor offense is nowadays. I'm gonna do the same thing with that analogy, and I'm gonna say Brandon Ingram offensively is a monster. Defensively, doesn't give you
Yeah.
what he does, but we've only seen Mikal Bridges do this for like a month
and
and a half.
and I understand that may be premature, but I guarantee if Michael stays on the Nets, I guarantee you he's an all-star.
Yeah, he'll be an
next
all-star next year.
I
no doubt, for
guarantee
sure.
you.
No
And-
doubt.
But I would
and-
like to see more of what we saw those last.
Yeah,
because
because he had a half season of
Yeah.
doing that, so I get that. Where'd you have? I would have Wiggins at 10 too.
you got what Middleton?
Middleton
and,
at 9.
Middleton at 9. Who'd you have 8?
DeMar.
You could definitely flip those. I think you could.
I would have OG in my top 10.
Who are you taking out?
I would take out Middleton at this point.
Over OG?
Not
Mhm.
yet.
No way.
Not yet.
Well,
Dude,
just-
Middleton has still such a big offensive bag.
But he's 34 at this point.
He's 34?
He's
getting up
33.
there.
I mean, dude, he's not
not
young.
young.
And I think he has had
I thought
many.
he's like 31.
He's had many injuries, and I
yeah,
mean,
but like
Middleton's game. He's the ideal 3-and-D guy you want. How old is he?
okay, but OG can't go really create his own shot. Like
so Middleton's 31.
Okay, that's what. Yeah,
he'll be 32 when the next season starts.
Okay, he's 31. That's not like 34 is a big difference. Oh, I don't think if you switch OD and Middleton, I don't think the Bucks upgrade in any means. Like Middleton is their secondary playmaker. Not only does he score, but he's a good passer too. He's got a. I mean, Middleton.
I mean,
can
Holiday
score
and
from every
Giannis
level.
are the two playmakers.
Yeah, Middleton averages like 5-6 assists a game. Middleton's still a good playmaker. Middleton's their second best player.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just the age and the injuries is why I knock Middleton.
I mean, he's only 31.
But he's had. I mean, how many injuries has he had? I mean, he's kind of been hurt the past few years.
He's been past the last year because he got hurt in the playoffs against Boston.
Yeah, okay. My thing, if you could say Middleton's healthy, and you know that, I would take him over.
We just haven't seen anything from OG Anunoby other than an improvement this season on a bad team. And I love what OG's doing, but Middleton has the pedigree
right now
and the offensive game that OG just can't match.
Yeah,
and I really don't think there's that much. I mean, there is a drop off from OG defensively to Chris Middleton, but it's not like the Grand Canyon. It's not that big.
I also question. I mean, Middleton's he's a good defender, but OG is another one of those guys that I say, okay, you're going to guard Kawhi, you're going to go guard Tatum.
You love these young boys, don't you?
You
like the projection.
He
like to project them.
I love these dudes that like I can confidently go into a series and say, you're going to go lock up that team's best scorer. I love that. I love having that.
Didn't care about it when it was Jokic versus Giannis now.
Well, because everything else Jokic does is just so impeccable. But yeah, I mean, I don't really. I would have DeMar at 8. I think you had him at.
I had him at 8.
8. So
I had Mikal at 7. Bi 6.
I think Wiggins.
You had Mikal over Paul George.
Yeah.
Why? I can understand Brandon Ingram, but over Paul George.
Yeah, I mean,
Paul George was an MVP candidate like 3 years ago.
It's probably premature. 3 years ago, but it's
he's still. I mean,
it's probably premature, but. And again, I understand it completely, and it might be premature to have Mikal over Paul. I just love what Bridges brings.
I feel like if Paul George was on the Nets, I think the Nets would have won a game against Sixers. I think Paul George would have willed them to a win. Paul George is still like, you can just hand him the ball, like, go give me 45.
Yeah,
and he can go do that.
I had him at 5 and 6, so you could swap him, and I really wouldn't blink an eye.
Hairs here.
I'm not. Yeah, so. I understand the Brandon Ingram. I think putting him over Paul George is a little. ridiculous,
and I get that because Paul George is still an elite.
He's
defender.
still Paul George. I mean, like, dude's still a monster.
Yeah, but you would have him over, or do you have Bi over Mikal?
I have Bi over Mikal. I have Bi at 6. I'm fine. Like that. I struggled with that. Like I would put Bi at 6. If you want to put Mikal over him, I'm not gonna argue that. It's splitting hairs.
No, I'm curious to see though if like after a whole season of Bridges with this role on an offense, his defense has to dip if he's putting that much effort offensively.
100%.
That's a good point.
Well, okay, where do you think Mikal? I don't think any of us think Mikal could be the 1 on a championship team.
No.
Do you think he could be the 2?
I think.
Or do you think it's a 3 role?
I think he could. If he has a Giannis, he could be a 2. I think. I think if Middleton could do it as a 2, because I think.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
I think Mikal could be a 2. If he if we look,
you think he'd be a 2 with Luka? Let's say we trade. Let's just hypothetically, let's just say hypothetically we don't have Kyrie Irving. Mikal Bridges is our number 2. We have good pieces around it. You think we can win a championship?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I think if
I actually agree with that.
I think if obviously the rest of the roster is constructed right, like how the Bucks were with Giannis and Middleton, then yes, I think that team could.
You think Mikal Bridges is better than Jamal Murray?
It's just for me. It's hard when like they're just two different complete players. It's hard.
That's what I'm saying. But but like, do you think he could be the number 2 on Denver? Like, if you took Jamal Murray off, let's say you give him.
I think that Jamal's fit is just so much better than Mikal's would be.
Let's just say you give Denver. Who's a good point guard you could put in the Jamal Murray role? It's not as good.
Fred VanVleet.
Yeah, VanVleet. Yeah, let's just say VanVleet. I think that team still wins. But
yeah,
I'm trying to think of. If you're swapping Mikal Bridges for Michael Porter Jr., I think that's a massive upgrade.
I hate
Absolutely.
Michael Porter. I'm glad you didn't have him in your honorable mentions.
He was in my honorable mentions.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
I do not like Michael Porter.
He was nowhere near the top 10.
Have you
but he was in
seen
honorable
the
mentions.
shots? He is
It's awful.
He takes some
he
outworldly
could be a
shots.
lot better if he was
Michael
smarter.
Porter, though,
I think
is
he's a
good
very low
defender.
IQ player.
He's a good defender and he's a great rebounder, actually.
He is, but
He's a great rebounder.
he offers zero playmaking whatsoever.
Yes.
He's probably one of the worst playmaking forwards in the entire NBA, and he cannot get his own shot whatsoever. He is solely a
He's a catch and shoot guy.
catch and shoot. I'm not a big I think if Porter was not on the Nuggets, I don't think he'd be talked about really at all. And I definitely don't think he would have got that max deal that he got.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Denver's regretting giving him that max deal.
God, you feel like he's a talented guy.
I think there's a real argument that Bruce Brown was more valuable to the Nuggets than Michael Porter was.
in the finals, absolutely.
Michael Porter
couldn't hit a three.
He was non-existent.
He actually wasn't bad in that last game, but
Well,
over
in the whole
course-
run, Michael Porter was more valuable. In
He
that
was.
Lakers series, Michael Porter was cooking them.
Yeah.
But in the finals specifically, it was
And I mean,
Bruce Brown.
once later in the playoffs, Bruce Brown was actually getting more minutes than Michael Porter. At first, Porter was, but I think Malone realized that Bruce Brown fits better and he helps him out more than because I mean Porter's he I really think that
he's a shooter, man.
I really
Shooters
think
they're hot, they're great. When they're cold, they're not.
but
not
my thing
great.
too is the fact that he's getting a max contract. I think it's
That contract is
It's
too much for what
next,
he actually.
next season if the Nuggets have a dip any whatsoever, they're gonna trade Michael Porter for peanuts to get rid of that deal.
Yeah, probably.
He's gonna be a guy that they're looking to get rid of for peanuts.
He's also a guy who has a back issues. As it is, he had back issues coming
Yeah.
into the league.
Oh, yeah.
That's not great either.
I do not like Michael Porter at all.
He's fun when he's hot, though. All right, Buzzsaw, you want to go over this top 10?
Yep. All right. Top 10 small forwards in the NBA. Number 10, Andrew Wiggins. Number 9, Chris Middleton. Number 8, DeMar DeRozan. Number 7, Mikal Bridges. 6, Brandon Ingram. 5, Paul George. 4, Kawhi. 3, Jason Tatum. 2, Jimmy Butler. And number 1, LeBron James.
Wait, did you not have Mike Helen at all?
I had Mikal at 7.
Oh, okay.
All right, we got a
So, yeah,
couple more things.
Pretty
here.
even.
Now, next I got this random NBA question that we're gonna ask the guys here.
Okay.
All right. So the question is, down 1, shot clock's off. Who do you want taking the ball up?
Iguodala.
They can pass it. They can pass it. They can shoot it. But they're taking the ball up. They're initiating the offense.
They're just taking the ball up the court.
They're taking it up. Yeah, they're initiating the offense for they can go ISO. They can pass it. Whatever they want. Like theoretically, like balls in their hands.
We
past
don't know
half
what's
court.
around these guys.
We
though.
don't know who on their team.
They're who.
I mean, if Kevin Durant's on these teams, then like
Well,
obviously
obviously.
you want him to come up.
But let's
I
act.
could dribble the ball and pass it to Kevin Durant. Like
Let's act like these guys are on the teams that they're on right now. Like these guys are taking it up. Like who gives you the best chance to score a bucket to win? Whether that's passing the ball, getting an assist, playmaking, shooting the ball. Who gives you the best chance to win? So the 6 guys I got here: Trae Young, De'Aaron Fox, Donovan Mitchell, Ja Morant, Anthony Edwards, and Jalen Brunson. Who do you want taking the ball up?
I guess it's just hard to answer for me when, like, they're not shooting it, but they have the option.
Well, it's
do
more so
anything
like
with it.
they're playmaking.
I think all
go
6 of
ISO.
those guys are going to shoot it
More
on
than
their own
likely.
teams.
So
they're not going
So
to.
are we looking at now who's taking the shot?
It's whatever gives you the best chance to win. Whether you think that's like Ja Morant driving in the lane, getting
So
it
not
out to
the
a
shot,
shooter.
but just trying to. You're down by 1. You need
I mean, if
you need
Trae
you need-
Young's taking the ball up for the Hawks, he's taking the shot.
it's just
like,
you need a bucket.
you need a bucket.
God, I think I might take Anthony Edwards.
I don't want us to take De'Aaron Fox. He was
Wait, so
great
is
in
it
clutch
we're down by 1?
down by 1.
Down by 1. Okay,
So
so we can get a layup. Or we can
You
go to
get
the
a
free throw
layup.
line.
You got to get a bucket.
Okay.
Whether it's
God, Jalen Brunson honestly is not a bad pick.
Yeah.
Brunson can go get a 2-pointer like that. I would not take Donovan Mitchell.
I wouldn't either.
I don't know. I don't think I'd take De'Aaron Fox.
I don't think I would take Ja Morant either.
A lot of me wants to take Fox. Was great in the clutch last year, and he was shot great. From
Yeah, but
three.
that's a lot different than the last shot of the game.
I think I'm gonna stick with my guns and take the Ant-Man.
I think I might take Anthony Edwards too. He's the biggest out of all of them. He's still a great driver.
He's a good shooter.
He's a good off the dribble shooter. He can get into the lane and get contact. If there's a seam, he can get into it and finish around the basket. He can shoot at all levels.
I'm not taking Trae Young. I think he's going to jack up a stupid shot.
Definitely.
Yeah, Trae would dribble it up and take a 30-footer. However, he does make that in those moments. I mean, he made that against Boston in Game 5.
I might take. I think I'm going to take Ant, man.
I think I'm taking Anthony Edwards too.
I'm gonna take Fox. Give me the Fox, man.
I almost want to
take. He's a good shooter.
I almost want to take Brunson.
Is Fox that good? I think I'd take Brunson over Fox.
Just because of what Brunson can do.
Fox isn't that good a shooter.
He was much better last year. Much better this past year.
My thing with Brunson is just what we could see Brunson do once he gets down in the post and just has fundamentals. And I think Brunson's might get up the best quality shot out of all these guys. His separation down low, he's going to hezzy and get a nice mid-range fucking bank shot for you.
Yeah.
I think De'Aaron Fox maybe too just too much gas for me.
Honestly, I'm taking Donovan Mitchell last out of all of them.
I think I might take Trae.
Donovan Mitchell's going to dribble at 100 miles an hour straight to the basket.
I think Trae Young's going to milk it down to a half second and chuck up a 35.
I've seen Trae make that, though. I mean, Trae made that in Game 5 to win the playoff game against the Celtics.
Donovan Mitchell for the playoffs, see what you want, but he did have some really good clutch moments in the regular season where he did win the game for him.
He hit buzzer beaters?
I think he hit a few. I mean, Mitchell, he dropped, 70?
He had
did
70
drop a 70-point game. Didn't they lose that game, though?
No, I think
they might have. I don't know.
They lost that game.
I think with that, I think you can go. I think there's an argument with like any of those guys, really, honestly.
Okay,
For
insert Kyrie Irving in that list.
I'm taking Kyrie.
I think it's Kyrie by a mile.
I think it is too.
It's Kyrie by a mile.
I've seen Kyrie hit those clutch shots.
Well, Kyrie can create his own shot like in a fucking millisecond. I mean,
he's got that bag.
Yeah,
without a doubt. All right, do you want me to go over this? You want to do? We go on your question?
You want to do the fun question?
Let's do the fun question.
Okay.
T-Bone's got a fun question for us.
Fun question.
Fun question time.
All right. So this question. All right. So this is called the 6, 12, 18, 24 challenge. So there's 4 different categories, and you have to pick one of them to match up with 6, 12, 18, 24. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So the options are beers, drink, and all in a 24-hour span. You have 24 hours to complete this challenge. Amount of beers drank, donuts eaten, jacked off, and miles ran. So
the miles ran. Is that like so? If you just
walk
12
you
miles,
can walk.
like,
you just have to complete it.
Okay.
For me, I would jack off 6 times. Back in my head,
logical.
I think I've done. I don't know how you would nut more than 12 times in a day.
That's
pretty I think you'd give your dick a fucking Indian. What are those? The
Indian sunburn.
Your dick would get an Indian sunburn.
Have a knot in it.
Your dick would be bleeding. So I think you have to jerk off 6 times. I think
that's the only logical way to figure this
you have to jerk
out.
off 6.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's the only way to crack this puzzle.
I would walk/run 12 miles. I would drink 18 beers, and I would eat 24 donuts.
Part of me wants to switch. I think I'd switch the donuts and the beers.
Dude, I don't know. 24 beers in one day?
See, for me too.
You would 24 donuts?
I mean, donuts are, how many calories are in a donut? Like 100?
More, but they're just so.
I mean,
you're going to be burning them off.
12 miles.
You're going to be burning a lot of those off.
Can you do some of this stuff at the same time?
I think
like,
so.
could I be eating a donut and beating my meat at the same time?
You could, if you are capable of doing multiple actions at once, yes, you can.
So I can walk, beat off, and eat a donut at the same time.
If you're that talented, yeah.
I feel like like in a 24-hour
span. That doesn't sound that bad.
And I feel like I feel like you do 20. Actually.
So just for reference, this says there are between 190 to 300 calories in a donut. So let's just say one donut's 250 calories.
So one donut in an hour, essentially. So one donut an hour or one beer an hour, basically, for 24 hours.
See, for me, I think if I think I could down more donuts than beers.
I think you're right. Actually,
beers I get so bloated, and I'm gonna be puking.
I mean,
but if I have a full day,
wait a second. If you throw up, is that okay?
Yeah, I think it's okay. But I could do it. I could do it.
Man.
I could I could do a donut an hour.
I could eat 12 donuts, drink 12 beers in 1 hour.
I could do a donut an hour.
That'd be fine.
I could do a beer every like hour and like 15 minutes. I think it's gonna be a long day, but I think I could do that. The 6 jerks. That's what every.
We have to plan those.
Every 4 hours, you're nutting.
That's not.
I think you could do that. And then the 12 miles. So throughout the jack-offs, you're gonna have to go and do whatever every 4 hours. But I think with the donuts and beers,
what are you gonna do if you're walking? Go find a porta potty?
Well, I'm not gonna. I don't think you can jack off while walking. I don't know how you do that.
Well, it's gonna take you longer than 4 hours
but
to do a walk.
I think the 12 miles is perfect walking or running because you could just be eating donuts while walking or drinking a beer while you're walking. That's not. I could do that.
Yeah, and I think as long as you stay, you got to.
Can you drink water during this day?
I think you can. Yeah.
If you're doing 18 beers,
I think if I
walk.
walked 12 miles and drank 24 beers, I'd probably die.
You'd probably need water.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely need a little bit of water.
I'm going with yours. I agree with you, Cole. I think the food for 24, donuts for 24, beers 18, mile 12.
Yeah, that's the only one. The only
6
thing that I
whackers.
might think about is switching the beers and the donuts, but I think
I don't know how you could do more. I
think you got to
I
do the
think
donuts.
the 6 for sure has
I
to be.
feel
the
like once you
jack-off.
already hit 18 donuts, it's like what's 6 more? If you're pissed drunk, you're pissed drunk at 18 beers and you're like, fuck,
You'd probably give me.
I gotta drink 6 more.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the donuts is like, oh whatever. You're just like, I'll just give them to
At
me.
that point, it's like a challenge. You're just like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
It's like I'll just gut 'em
I'm gonna
and throw
focus
up.
in, and we're just gonna down these 6 donuts.
If you're down bad,
donuts go
after
down.
18
Donuts go down
beers,
pretty easy too. Like you could get a Krispy Kreme donut and eat it in 2 or 3 bites.
If you're down 18
you could-
beers and you're staring down the barrel at like 10:30 p.m. at 6 more beers,
he would have shotgun
after your
6.
sack's drained, your legs are dead, your stomach's
you
full,
got-
you're just like, oh god.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine how your stomach would feel after all that beer and donuts.
What would you do?
I think I'd have to go back to what you're doing.
We're all on the same thing.
Yeah,
I think
agree
we're
with
all
you.
on it. The only thing I might switch would be donuts and beers, but I don't think you can do that. I mean, the only thing could you switch? Maybe you switch the beers and miles walked. Do 12 beers.
18 miles.
If you're walking constantly during the day, it's not impossible.
You're gonna
When
want
are you gonna whack it?
You're gonna want to sit down though, and the whacks are gonna take some energy out of you too. You're not gonna have that.
Hop right back up.
You're not gonna have that testosterone running through you after you got,
I mean, you have to be constantly walking all day to get to 18 miles.
You get 6 whacks and you're gonna be just tired from that. So
If you space it out, right,
I think
you
the
can
12
pop right back
miles
up.
after 6 jerks in a day is more than I.
That's
can handle.
enough exercise for one day.
Let me just. What's the least amount of money, or like, let's say someone was like, I'll give you $2,000 if you can complete this challenge. Would you go for it? I'd go for it.
I'd go for it.
Yeah,
I'd go.
I think I'd go for it for $1,000.
Yeah, I'd go for it.
Yeah, I'd do it for $1,000 or $2.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, actually. Yeah, I'd do that.
Fantasy football punishment.
Yeah. Oh God,
Oh,
that'd be a
Lord.
brutal league.
Yeah, we'll do the.
I think have y'all seen those fantasy football punishments though, where like people will put the loser in a dog cage and they'll dump like sauces and all and like food.
Oh my
and shit.
god.
Have you seen that?
No, that's a.
You haven't seen that?
No, I'm not on TikTok, baby. I don't fucking.
Dude,
I don't see
there's
shit.
challenges where people that lose their league, they'll put them in a dog cage
I've seen that.
and they'll dump like fucking gasoline, milk.
Gasoline?
Maybe not gasoline because it's so
You'll
smell.
light them on
But yeah,
fire.
they'll dump milk,
Who wants a
ketchup,
cigarette?
fucking fish, like any just gross condiment or food or liquids, they'll dump it on them.
That's like against humanity.
I think
That's
I'd rather
bad.
do I'd rather do this challenge than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd have like this
It'd be,
I
there would
think-
be
I think
fun
abuse.
moments.
I think this challenge, the first like 3 or 4 hours, you'd be like, this is kind of fun. And
you have your friends cheering
and
you
then
on.
once, but I think
like,
what for this challenge though, once you hit like that 6-7 hour mark, you'd probably be like,
I hate my life.
I hate my life.
yeah.
There'd
100%.
definitely be a massive hump you have to get over to complete this
Oh
one.
yeah,
It takes
you
a
would have to
fight.
grit and grind for this one for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather have that than fucking people pouring shit on me. That feels like abuse.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's not right.
it's very degrading.
I'd rather abuse myself than have somebody abuse me. It's just like, jeez.
Abuse my dick 6 times
Yeah.
in one day than have that happen,
Absolutely. Jesus.
and my insides.
Your friends fucking just pour the fucking motor oil on you.
I just can't. I don't know anywhere.
Dumped a bunch of cornflakes on me after they
I
dumped
just-
a bunch of honey all
With
over
this
me.
challenge, I couldn't imagine anyone taking jerking off in the 18 or 24 or even 12.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
How do you bust 12 times in one day?
It's twice an hour.
Imagine that. By like the 10th, 11th time,
Or not
you're going to
twice
have to
an
jerk
hour.
off for like 3 hours to bust.
Yeah, that's.
You're going to have to go to a real happy
You're gonna have
place
to be
suck-
walking. You're gonna have to be
Yeah.
walking and jerking
Yeah.
at the same time.
I think the
You don't
six,
have time to burn.
anyone that doesn't picks the 6 jerks, I think they're just full of crap. Like,
Or they're just a maniac.
or they're just
There's-
the
I'm
horniest
sure you can check the
bastard out
comments. There's definitely someone who's like 24 jerks.
there. Listen,
No problem.
I feel like
I do that every
you
Wednesday.
think you've ever. You think
That's my normal
you think,
Sunday.
you think in your heyday you ever jerked off 6 times in one day?
it's definitely happened. Yeah. I'm here to say it. I've definitely done it. I mean, come on.
I
We were
think
all
ma-
15 once.
I think maybe back in my heyday I might have touched 6.
Let's say, don't act like you're above everyone. You know,
I'm
you
not.
know that's
I'm
happened,
not.
son. Come on now.
I mean, come on.
Down
We've all
bad, but
We've all been 15. I mean, come on. It's happened. Come
All right, I gotta wrap this puppy up.
on.
Alright,
Oh, we
put a
take this
bow
thing
on it.
home.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
we
we
hit
did.
everything, right?
Yeah,
did.
We got over
Yeah.
everything.
How
Cool.
about them apples?
How about it?
Good
All right.
deal.
We
Good
done
work.
here? See you on episode 25?
25. Wrap up NBA, and then we're going full steam ahead for football.
You damn right, baby.
Full steam ahead.
It's football time, baby. Time for the pigskin. All right, boys. This was fun.
All right.
Good work.
Good work.